Hey everybody, it's GalModX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we have the Arena Decathlon Finals. This is going to be a best of 3 Arena Cube Draft event where we will be competing for a bunch of various prizes. Half the prizes are cosmetics and half the prizes are wild cards or cards from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. So the main prize that I'm interested in is going to be the player draft tokens. As primarily a limited player myself, the only prizes I'm really interested in most events are player draft tokens, gold, or gems. So not really shooting for anything more than 3 wins here. I'm fine going 3-3 in this event, and I'll be doing my best to hit that. But if we do manage to get farther than 3 wins here, we do get some pretty spicy stuff that's pretty interesting. The Jace the Mind Sculptor avatar is probably the coolest cosmetic on the line here. And if we do manage to make it to 7 wins, we do get one of every single card in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. So cool stuff on the line here. We'll see how we do. Let's head into the Arena Decathlon Finals. Alright, here we are with pack 1. Let's take a quick look through here and see what we want to first pick. So we have a couple colorless cards, which are nice because they can go into any deck, although I think Helmo the Host is quite slow, 4 to play it and then 5 to equip before it does anything. Cold Steel Heart, though, is a pretty nice mana rock, 2 mana mana ramp for any deck. So that's kind of an interesting colorless card. If you want to just take something powerful, this pack isn't that insane. Massacre Worm's a pretty big card. It's a board wipe and does a bunch of damage to your opponent. Tender Shoot Dryad's a lot of fun in green. You can get the City's Blessing pretty quick with it, and then it just spits out a bunch of 3/3s. So that's going to be nice for any token deck. The other green cards are pretty filler. The black's pretty filler. This is not a great Planeswalker in red. Dancing Sword isn't great. Could just slam down a Triome. If we want to be open to a lot of multicolored stuff, we could take Brazen Borrower. This is a pretty annoying card. It is instant speed interaction with Petty Theft, plus a pretty nice evasive threat, a 3/1 flyer for only 3 mana. Can close out a game pretty quick. Yeah, I like Cold Steel Heart, Brazen Borrower, maybe even a Realm Cloak Giant as sort of a Wrath or a Massacre Worm. I guess I'll just go with like a Brazen Borrower here. Not particularly wild pack there, in my opinion. Is this the Alchemy version? This is the Alchemy version of Alrund's Epiphany. So it costs 7 mana to cast, even if you foretell it. And you only create birds if you foretold it. This still seems like a pretty good card. You just have to foretell it. Pretty good follow-up to a Brazen Borrower, because then we're just mono blue so far. That being said, Wrenn and 7 is certainly powerful just for the -3 ability, making a giant tree folk. If you can get anything that copies tokens, it's sick. In our last deck, we've got Eska's Chariot alongside Wrenn and 7. That was really cool. I don't love the black cards here, but Professor Onyx is pretty cool. But, you know, just really high mana cost game-ending cards are very replaceable in the cube. There's just tons and tons of those. Not really high on Palladium Mirror or Censor. Yeah, take an Alrund's Epiphany here. So we can kind of move into blue flyers, taking the Warkite Marauder here. Then we have Brazen Borrower, Warkite Marauder, even Alrund's Epiphany can work well in a flyer deck because it's going to create a couple more flying tokens and just give us another combat step to get in there with our evasive creatures. So I think Warkite Marauder is pretty interesting to me. This is really, really good if you're in like a blue-white flyers deck because it is shutting off one of their blockers every turn. You just shut off whatever creature they have that has flying or reach, and it will get rid of that ability, so it just can't block at all. It can't even chump block. So I do like Warkite Marauder a lot. Slot Cumming's good if we go down like a control route. And Op's going to be solid in any blue deck. I kind of want to take Warkite Marauder here. I feel like maybe this is just because I played mono green last time, but the Flyers decks have certainly put in some work against me, so I like taking Warkite Marauder here. Strongest card in the pack might just be like Noxious Gearhulk. I think this is a really good card to stabilize. Thief of Sanity is quite close as well. The Gonti style abilities are really annoying when you can cast cards from your opponent's library, and the mono red cards are great too. Light up the stage in the Phoenix, but I like kind of going down an archetype and getting an idea for where our deck is going early on here, as long as we don't get cut. Yeah, Muldrifter is just a great blue card in general. The first time I drafted this, I was like, I don't even know how good it's going to be, because it's probably going to feel really bad to evoke it, right? And then when I got into gameplay, I was like, I never felt bad evoking this card. Like, sure, Divination is below the general power level of a cube, just 3 mana draw 2, but the fact that it's Divination when you can't afford the 5, when you need to draw into lands, and then when you can afford the 5, it's just so good. Means that I think this is just a really great card. That being said, so is Into the Royal, so is Thirst for Discovery, just great instant speed cards, instant speed interaction, and speed draw, but I don't know, I'm a pretty big fan of Muldrifter after playing around with it a little bit. Okay, so we can't just sit here drafting blue flyers all day long. Every single card we have so far is a flyer or produces flyers, but there is no blue flyers in this pack. There is a Pact of Negation if we want a free counterspell. That being said, we do have to spend 5 mana during our next turn or die, and just lose immediately. Is there anything off-color that makes any sense with blue here? Maybe Kabira Takedown for blue-white. I do like double-faced cards that are lands on one side and spells on the other. Yeah, Takedown would be like okay, or we could just take like a blue-black duel. Just a somewhat on-color duel here. Sawtooth Demolisher, I guess, for blue-green. This could mutate onto any of our creatures we have so far. And then we'd have just a big Flying Trampler and spit out a 3/3 maybe? I don't know, I'll try out a Sawtooth Demolisher maybe. It seems a little weird in the color combo, but could be spicy. And now, do you think Dragon's Guard Elite would be good in like blue-green? Because we'd be casting a lot of instants and sorceries on the blue half of our deck. But Poppet Stitch is just straight good in blue by itself, creating some decayed zombies every time we cast something. If we get a bunch of creatures on board, this makes all of our creatures just 3/3s, so the zombies wouldn't even be decayed anymore. Yeah, they wouldn't have to die. It's pretty cool. So I like Bark Channel Pathway for green-blue fixing if we want to go down blue. We could take Thundering Rebuke to potentially go down blue-red, because I think that color pair is just very good. Or we could just take Poppet Stitcher, because we can just play it in blue for sure. I think I'm just going to take Poppet Stitcher, just be really safe here. Kind of force blue as the main plan. We don't have a lot of instant speed stuff right now. We only have Brazen Borrower, so this Brandborn Cutthroat might not even be that good. Gets bigger when you cast stuff during your opponent's turn, so it's better the more instants you have in your deck. Young Pyromancer is just absurd in blue-red, right? It's pretty great in just red in general. I feel like this is enough better than Cutthroat. We can just slam down a Pyromancer here and speculate on blue-red, even though we're passing as Steam Vents. So we're not going to have a Steam Vents in our mana base, unfortunately. Although now I do definitely wish that I took the... I believe there was a blue-red... Oh wait, no, there was the 2-mana 4-damage red burn spell. I wish I took that earlier. So search for Azcanta or the blue-red dual land Decatria Triome. This is blue or red, or recycle it away. I think I'd rather have the search for Azcanta, because again, I'm not 100% committed to anything except blue, and search for Azcanta is going to be sick if we have a lot of non-creature stuff, which generally blue decks will. Commit to Memory is a great instant speed piece of interaction. Now we can try out Vadrik, I guess? Or we could take the blue-white duel. Does this look good at all? A 3-mana 1/2. Makes all our instants and sorceries cost 1 less to cast. But whenever we flip between day and night, it gets a +1/+1 counter. And then our spells cost 2 less, maybe 3 less. I mean, that's cute. That's cute, but I think I'm going to take the dual land here. It just doesn't seem super good to me. I like Opt here. We could play Light Up the Stage and Phoenix of Ash if we go blue-red. Maybe I like Light Up the Stage better than Opt. Enough better than Opt to take it. Like Opt, we're 100% playing no matter what. Light Up the Stage might be a little bit better for blue-red. Phoenix of Ash I don't think would be. Just because the mana base, the mana cost is pretty difficult. Just going to go Opt there. But wow, like, that's some good red stuff pretty late there. Some decent black stuff here, but Nothing absurd to see this late. So no massive sign. Take another decent black card, I guess. And both of these are really good in self-mill. These both give us something we can potentially do from the grave. Alright. So that's a pretty nice last pickup, Gazul's Fury. Just another kind of modal card I'm definitely a fan of. So I like Shatterskull Smashing. It's a land when you need to land, or potentially 2 removal spells in 1 if you have enough mana. Split X damage among 2 targets. Inscription of Insight. Definitely good if you can kick it. Solid even choosing one option. Prismari Command is going to be super good if we do go blue-red, but it's more likely to wheel than the other 2 cards because it is gold. It is multicolored. And Experimental Frenzy I don't think is necessary in blue-red because we just have draw spells in blue, so we don't need to kind of go for it off the Frenzy. So I think my top 2 here are Prismari Command and Shatterskull Smashing. I feel like Prismari Command is the best card, but Smashing is just way less likely to wheel. That being said, I also really want to try to cut people off from going Izzet. So I'm going to take the Izzet card there, the Prismari Command. It's the better card, and now we're not sending anybody a strict blue-red signal. And now I'll take Dragon's Rage Channeler, because it is perfect for this archetype. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, surveil 1. If you have Delirium, so 4 different card types in your graveyard, it's going to be a 3/3 flyer for just that 1 mana. So really good just getting to surveil every time you cast something. But it also turns into a really cheap, very big flyer. So this is exactly what we want in this archetype. As cool as it would be to pick up a Wrath effect like Burn Down the House or Crush the Weak, Dragon's Rage Channeler is just exactly what blue-red is trying to do. Now Augur of Bolas would be fine, because we're going to try to have a high instant sorcery count. Insult to Injury would be fine, because we're going to be somewhat aggressive, so doubling damage might matter a tiny bit. And then Injury, of course, I mean, that's solid. 3 mana, 2 to a creature, 2 to the player. These are both pretty medium, pretty filler, though, as is Illyrios. And they're the 3 on-color cards. I don't think this pick matters too much, because they're all going to be very replaceable. I guess I'll just take Augur. Alright. Now we have Faithless Looting. If they put Phoenix in the cube, this could be really fun, but I don't know if they put Phoenix in the cube. So I feel like multiple choice is probably just better. This is just such a great 5-drop for blue-red spells, because it's 5 mana for a 4/4 creature that also scries 1, draws a card, bounces something of your opponent's, and counts as an instant or sorcery. So you're getting a creature out of it, but you're still casting a sorcery spell, which is really nice. I'm going to take the multiple choice here, but it would be cool to wheel the Faithless Looting. The only other deck I could see wanting it would be like black-red with maybe some graveyard recursion from skeletons and stuff. Like a black-red sack deck that has some stuff that comes back from the grave. So this pack's pretty nice. 2 options I really like. Via Shadow Pyromancer just for getting real aggressive. 2 mana for a 2/1 and you deal 2 damage no matter what when it enters the battlefield. Or just Thrix, which we can just flash in as a big flyer. I feel like I want to take Thrix here. We've got a flying theme going for us. And just having flash is also pretty great, because we've got a decent amount of instants to play around with. Yeah, we've got some pretty solid 2-drops. Augur, Warkite, Marauder, and Pyromancer. We're not like super hurting on that front for pick 2, or pack 2, pick 5. See, I'm going to take that. Jaya's Immolating Inferno. I don't know why that's in the cube. It just always feels like it's going to be so rare to end up in a deck with enough legendaries to consistently cast a legendary sorcery. That's it just feels weird to have any legendary sorceries in the cube. Because I just see those go pick 15 all the time. I think for good reason. So do we want Neutralize here or Champion of Wits? I feel like Champion of Wits makes less sense. Doesn't like synergize at all. Neutralize, like we've got some flash creatures stuff, so we can hold up counters a little easier. Yeah, I'll take a neutralize. Can always cycle it if we don't need it. Torburn is nice, but really hard to cast if you're 2 colors, so I don't think we're taking Torburn. So do we want Disdainful Stroke? Do we want Spikefield Hazard? I am a little nerd who loves flip lands, and I'm going to take the flip land. Ooh, Delver of Secrets? Don't mind if I do. I know there's a Magma Opus that looks really cool, that's really cute, but we would much rather be the lower to the ground deck with a bunch of cheap instant sorceries, especially when you look at our creatures. Our creatures are just like cheap aggressive flyers like Warkite Marauder, Brazen Borrower, or small creatures that spit out a bunch of stuff like Pyromancer and Poppet Stitcher. All of these creatures get on the board quickly and push damage into our opponent. So cards like Delver are just going to be way better. We're just trying to end the game fast with our cheap stuff. Having another 8-drop in the deck would be absurd. I guess Aran's Epiphany is a 7, not an 8-drop. I mean, it wouldn't be absurd. We could definitely build around it and try to go down that path, but it would be... I think it would be the worst way to go with how good our like cheap creatures are. And again, I'm just going to take the cheap creature. Cheap flyer as well, which is nice. And we do wield the Insult to Injury, so we can try that out, maybe get some damage doubling there, and then get rid of a creature and do some damage to our opponent. Pretty cool. I don't think any of this matters. Well, get in here, Immolating Inferno, that will be uncastable. And the final pack now, what do we have? So we have Spectral Sailor, we have Shark Typhoon, and we have Glasspool Mimic. So Shark Typhoon's like better in control, but I think it's still just such a good card. It's going to be solid here. Probably the best card in the pack. This card's just really, really good. An uncounterable instant speed flyer that draws you a card. Like imagine a 3-mana 1/1 flyer can't be countered, draw a card when it enters the battlefield. Like, that's just a good card. And that's the weakest possible Shark Typhoon you could possibly cast. Then it's a 4-mana 2/2 flyer, 5-mana 3/3 flyer, and so on. And sometimes you could hard cast it if you want to get really spicy. I do love my flip lands, but not over a Shark Typhoon. And if we wheel the Glasspool Mimic and the Sailor, I would probably take the Sailor before the flip land also, if I'm being honest with myself. Okay, so I like a Rimrock Knight here, because we're trying to be aggressive. Some high power, cheap creatures can help do that. This is another cheap instant or sorcery to cast for our Dragon's Rage Channeler, and our Young Pyromancer, and our Poppet Stitcher, all of that kind of stuff. Now, it doesn't count as an instant or sorcery for our Delver of Secrets, which is a bit rough, but still for all that other stuff, I like it. Rekindling Phoenix would be good here too. We're also a flyer strategy for sure, but I don't think Innax would be... It's kind of a hard mana cost and we're not that red. I think I'm going to take the Rimrock Knight here. Blue-red dual land, pretty nice. Charticourse, pretty nice. Dark Dwellers is sweet. Obstructionist is good. Wow. I feel like Dark Dwellers is just sick. This card's been a great 5-drop when it's been played against me. I'm gonna pick that up. I really don't love we haven't gotten any lightning bolts or shocks or anything. I'm getting really worried about our instants and sorceries in the deck just not being the cream of the crop. It's just some nonsense like Insult to Injury, Commit to Memory just being fine. We don't have any of like the great cheap ones. But Toralf's Disciple slams a bunch of lightning bolts into your deck, so maybe we get there off that. Probably not Spell Pierce. Terramander's sweet in this strategy, but again, we don't have the instants and sorceries for it yet. Terramander's probably better than Toralf's Disciple, but Toralf's Disciple's cooler. Demonworthy's just a ton of mana, as is Hieroglyphic Illumination. Although being able to cycle this is pretty cool. 1 mana draw a card, a 4 mana draw 2. The flexibility's nice there. going to take Disciple. I could see the argument for Terramander being my probably second favorite there. Alright, here we have to just slam Scorching Dragonfire. What we're really missing is like the good, cheap red removal instants and sorceries. And Scorching Dragonfire is one of them. It's good enough. Not great. Good enough. Well, I guess the only on-color card is Seagate Stormcaller, which I guess it does work in our deck. 2 mana to play Seagate Stormcaller, and then play a 2 mana or less instant or sorcery, and it'll copy it. So then we double Dragonfire, or double Opt, or something like that. Try to splash in black for like Silumgar's command, but that's it. Yeah, we'll just take Lava Runner. I don't know if we're playing it, but we're not splashing black. Definitely take Celundi Vision here. I like the instant half of this card and the land half, and I love flip lands, so get in. Crash Through is good for blue-red spells as well, though. Alright, we just wheel Spectral Sailor, so that'll be an easy Spectral Sailor. If we wheeled Glasspool Mimic as well, then there'd be some debate, because I love my flip lands. So down to the final picks here. We definitely get to toy around with our deck a little bit and decide our cuts. We definitely get to cut some lands with the amount of flip lands that we picked up. So we get to do some brewing. Televerse is not going to be great here. We don't have a high instant sorcery count. For that reason, we're taking Chart a Course over the Nimble Obstructionist. Well, we have 8 instant 6 sorceries? Wait, what? This doesn't look like it. I guess we have 30 cards in this pile. Chart a Course is still a really good draw, but I mean, I guess take the flying creature then. Guess we'll see. Yeah, Spikefield Hazard, Celundi Vision, and Kazul's Fury. That's a thing. As much as I love flip lands, Bane Veil is... I don't know, I feel like it's a do-nothing so often. This is like the weakest flip land, at least in the cube. Try Deemworthy over Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce is definitely solid, but Deemworthy has been in the cube since Amonkhet Remastered came around. There's got to be some reason for that. We'll try it. We also just don't have a lot of removal, and this can kill almost anything. 7 damage to something. And you want just a boatload of burn spells in blue-red. So even if it's kind of a wonky one there, be fine in the strategy. Alright, let's make some cuts, make some decisions here. We have 17 creatures and 15 non-creatures right now. 2 enchantments somehow. We have Shark Typhoon and some other enchantment? Oh, Search for Azcanta. So that would mean we have 15 instants or sorceries. Definitely cut a few of those. Cut a lot of creatures. So... love that we've got an instant or sorcery that also works as a creature, and I love that we have some that work as lands. So 3 flip lands. I think that means we can cut like 2 lands. I wouldn't cut 3 lands for 3 flip lands, because you do want to be casting them as spells sometimes. And the biggest benefit of them is if you cut them like that, then it just makes it more likely that you can open up with your full curve of like 3 to 5 lands by just having technically 18 lands in the deck instead of 17, while also not getting punished by, of course, flooding out for having 18 lands in the deck. So 7 cards to cut then. Really don't want to cut too many instants or sorceries. Inscription of Insight's a creature, instant or sorcery as well, but it's a really weak creature. Creature's power toughness equal to the cards in hand, which is not going to be super high in this deck because we're dumping out our hand of creatures. I don't love this Seagate Stormcaller. It just feels like it's going to be so much mana to try to get this to do something, especially when we don't have a lot of 1 and 2 mana instants and sorceries. Probably my least favorite creature we have in here right now. Mold Drifter doesn't make a ton of sense. But it's still Mold Drifter, so I'm probably supposed to keep it in, but I'm strongly considering cutting it here. Got a lot of 1-mana creatures here, and Lava Runner is going to be really hard for that to trigger, which feels like it's not going to be great. Dragon's Rage Channeler and Delver of Secrets are both like way better. Kind of cool with all the 1-mana flyers, though. Yeah, kind of like cutting these. You still need to cut 4 more cards. Epiphany might not be great in here. It is a lot of mana. And we're pretty aggressive looking. Yeah, I think I'm cutting Epiphany just because it's so much mana. Maybe even Shark Typhoon. Because the cheapest Shark Typhoon is 3. But I mean, if you look at our curve and you treat it as like a 4, then turn 4 making a 2/2 flyer, drawing a card. Not awful. Certainly not great. Yeah, I guess our deck does care a lot about the power of our creatures because we are trying to close things out quickly. So the fact that Shark Typhoon, because you're getting that card draw off of it, the creature it's putting out is not actually that big, makes me feel like it's actually just not great here. Probably overvalued it. Because we do, like, if we're dumping 4 or 5 mana into a creature, we want it to have 4 or 5 power in this deck for sure, because we are the aggressor. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of Shark Typhoon. Still need to cut 2 more cards. Search for Escant is also a bit slow. It does combo well with Delver, because it also helps manipulate the top of our library. If we see an instant or sorcery, just keep it, and then Delver will flip. And if we don't, then we're milling. I don't know. It's interesting, but I think it's also a bit slow for the aggro here. I feel like I want to cut another 3 mana card here, because if we put these lands back into, if we draw them as spells, and this is what our curve looks like, I think 3 mana is just everywhere. Deemworthy's a 4 or a 5, which is nice. I really want to try this Poppet Stitcher. I think we cut a 3 mana creature. I love that we've got these adventure creatures, Brazen Bar and Rimrock Knight. These are going to be gas. So I guess we cut Obstructionist? Because I really don't want to cut Disciple. Cut Insult. I think Insult's the worst instant or sorcery left in the deck. Followed by maybe Inscription of Insight. Although, I mean, yeah, no, this actually seems pretty good. Like, we're basically never going to kick it, but 4 mana, like, bounce 2 of our opponent's creatures when we're this aggressive as just a big tempo play does seem nice. And then if we're not in that kind of position, like if they're just some control deck and they're trying to hold on to a Wrath to cast on us, then we're just like drawing cards instead of committing more to the board while we're keeping the pressure on. Yeah, that's an exciting card to me. I'm going to cut Insult to Injury here. Alright, so here is the final build of the deck. I did make one change to it. I did swap out the Augur Bolas for a Seagate Stormcaller for a couple reasons. One, being as aggressive as I'm trying to be here, just having 2 power instead of 1 power seems good to me, being a 2/1 instead of a 1/3, and I feel like neither of the abilities are particularly likely to happen too often, so I just want the creature that has the better power and toughness that's more relevant to me. With Augur of Bolas, we look at the top 3 cards of our library. If there's an instant or sorcery there, we get to draw it. We have 12 instants or sorceries in the deck, so that's a little bit less than 1 out of every 3 cards. So it's not, it's definitely far from a guarantee that Augur of Bolas triggers, and Seagate Stormcaller, I guess it is less likely to trigger, because we only have 3 2 or less mana instants and sorceries, but it's way more likely that just having 2 power matters than a 1/3 mattering. So we'll see if that's the right decision. I can always change the deck later on, and this is going to be best of 3, so we can swap between the 2 depending on what the round calls for, what the matchup calls for. But this is going to be the deck, kind of a blue-red Delver deck. Again, my biggest thing that I don't like about this deck is I think the ideal versions of like a blue-red spells, blue-red Delver sort of strategy, we have the ideal creatures for that strategy. We have Dragon's Rage Channeler, we have Delver of Secrets, we have Young Pyromancer, we have Poppet Stitcher, like we have the ideal creatures for this strategy. We have the wrong spells. We would ideally In like the perfect version of this, we wouldn't have like Deem Worthy, Commit, Inscription of Insight, like Neutralize. We'd like cut these four for like Play with Fire, 1 mana 2 damage to something, Lightning Bolt, 1 mana 3 damage to something, the 2 mana 4 damage to something red burn spell as well, and then like Into the Royal, the 2 mana instant. And we saw a few of those cards, so a lot of that is our fault, but some of those we saw early enough that we weren't committed to like blue-red spells. But yeah, I think Into the Royal and Thundering Rebuke, 2 mana bounce something and then kick it to draw a card, or Thundering Rebuke, 2 mana for 4 damage to something. We saw both of those quite early on in the draft before I think I committed to blue-red, but those would have both been just ideal premium pickups. I don't know what I took over Into the Royal, but I think Into the Royal probably would have been better. Because yeah, that would have been sweet in here, and it would have been super fine in the blue, just blue flyers that we were kind of going for at the time. So yeah, I mean, a great creature base, not the best spell base for this deck, but it still looks solid to me. So let's see how things go as we head into round 1. All right, here we are in round 1 of the Decathlon Finals, and we will be on the play. Pretty solid starting hand. We have both colors of mana. We're not going to cast anything until turn 3, but we get to put a threatening creature on the board during their end step, so if they play something that requires interaction from us, we can just cast our Prismari command instead. Then we untap on turn 4, and we've got access to Inscription of Insight to cast, and then play multiple choice turn 5, so I really like our 3-4-5 curve here. Not ideal not to have a 1 or 2 mana card, especially because our deck has a suite of great 1 and 2 mana creatures, but other than that, the hand's pretty great. So we do draw the Delver of Secrets turn 2, so that does give us something to play on turn 1 or turn 2. So at least we're doing something before turn 3 here. Our opponent plays a Llanowar Elves. Would I rather Prismari command that, or get our Nimble Obstructionist out? If I Prismari command, I do hit in for 1 here and kill their Mana Dork to keep them off 4 mana cards on turn 3. Feels worth it to me. I can also make a treasure token here to guarantee a turn 4 multiple choice if I want, or just draw 2, discard 2. I'd also be interested in that. Yeah, I'm not sure what alternative mode I want on this. Draw the cards or get the treasure. I think I'm going to get the treasure here, because then they might play a creature turn 3, and then we multiple choice turn 4. That could be a ridiculous tempo play. If we kill this Llanowar Elf to shut them off from casting any 4-drops, or like anything big, and then just whatever creature they play this turn, it just goes right back into their hand. Like, we've got a great start to the game in terms of tempo. So Tainted Adversary, sure, some 2-3 Death Toucher. And yeah, we're just going to multiple choice here, tempo that right back. I'll definitely draw this Scorching Dragonfire. That's going to be solid. We can just kill the adversary after they recast it. Now this does let them potentially kick this later for the additional 3 mana, but that's not going to be till turn 5. I'm not super worried about that. They're on turn 4 now. And even if they kick it, they just get a single... No, they get 2 Decayed Zombies. I don't really care about them getting any Decayed Zombies. And it looks like they don't care either, as they are just going to immediately recast the Tainted Adversary. So Delver again, we'll see if we get the flyer here. We do get the Delver to flip. It's 3rd turn out, so now we've got a 3-2 flyer pressuring a lot of damage to our opponent. So I'm going to play our land first so that we could cycle our Obstructionist to counter an activated ability if something weird happens here. But then I'm just going to Scorching Dragonfire pre-combat to get in for 4 on the ground. So Obstructionist can only counter abilities, so if they cast a spell here, yeah, they do cast a spell here, then the adversary survives. So we will just not be just not be attacking on the ground now. I mean, I guess we could, because it's a 4-5 now, so we are trading into the 4-5, and is this ever getting in? It is if we Inscription. Probably attack for 3 in the sky, plan an Inscription next turn. The ideal play from our opponent would be if they just play a 5-drop creature, and then we can just bounce both their creatures with Inscription. Get in on the ground, because we are going to cast an instant speed flyer here. So we're attacking for 6 in the sky guaranteed. If we can bounce all of their creatures, then we're hitting for 4 on the ground as well. So that would be 10 damage total. Ooh, and it's going to happen, and Geras it is. Tapping out for a creature, exactly what I was hoping for our opponent to have in hand there. So here's the Obstructionist, and here's the Inscription, and then a Kazul's Fury next turn means it's going to be really unlikely our opponent can survive another turn here. They are at 5 life. If a single one of our creatures hits them, we can fling another creature at them with Kazul's Fury for lethal. There's the concession from our opponent. That is going to be game 1 wrapped up in our favor. So in this matchup, we're playing against green-black, and they seem to just be playing some dorky creatures. That's all we saw. They're 2 mana 2/3, 4 mana 4/4 each trample. They did have the Inscription, but our deck's kind of just pre-sideboarded against that kind of card. You know, we could respond to them Inscriptioning to try to have something fight by bouncing their creature to their hand with a Brazen Borrower, or killing it with a Scorching Dragonfire or Deemworthy if we're lucky. So we're kind of pre-sideboarded against their sort of deck. I don't know if we have anything in the sideboard that's like even better than anything we currently have against just green-black sort of stompy. Yeah, I'm pretty cool to run it back. I mean, Shark Typhoon, Alrund's Epiphany don't make a ton of sense. They're just pretty expensive. Search for Iskanta is just slow. This definitely seems like a matchup where we can certainly pressure them with our cheap flyers. The only thing that I think would work against them is like Insult to Injury, and I don't even know if that like works better than anything we currently have against them. But I guess Spikefield? No, Spikefield Hazard works great against Land Elves. Plus, I mean, it's one of our lands. Don't really want to cut a land. Yeah, run it back. Seems good to me. The one thing I always forget about, I don't play best 2 out of 3 very often, so I'm in such like the basic sideboard mentality of trying to make my deck better against theirs. The other thing you have to think about is sideboarding for the fact that you know you are on the draw. You are not on the play. So if you're in an aggressive matchup where both decks are trying to be the aggressor, whenever your opponent's on the play, you can just be like, all right, you're going to be the aggressor because you're playing your creatures first. So you can sideboard to be a little more controlling if you're a good mid-range deck. So that is a thing to consider, is that like we are like guaranteed on the draw here. So if there's any way we could sideboard to be a better deck on the draw, if there's any cards that we have that are just really only good on the play or anything like that, we could play around that way. But I am not at that level of sideboarding knowledge. Well, our opponent's got the curve here. We don't have any of our cheap removal to get this Land Elves down. Don't have our Spikefield Hazard or our Scorching Dragonfire or Prismari Command, so Land Elves shall go off. Uh-oh. Turn 2 Wolf Willow Haven. So, turn 3, they're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana minimum. If they play their land drop for turn, they're going to have 5 mana. Want to just hold up a Neutralize here? Oh no, I only have 2 mana. I'm sitting here acting like I've mana ramped somehow turn 1. No, our opponent has all of the mana ramp. Yeah, well, I'm scared. I'm gonna be honest. So we're just gonna opt here, I suppose, and hope our opponent doesn't just dunk on us by having 5 mana turn 3 on the play. But it is perfectly likely they do just dunk on us. They just play like Ren and 7 or something. Pelucranos Unchained. Oh dear. 6/6 Pelucranos is here. And a tapped land for the turn, Malakir Mire, so they do need 5 mana. They're going to be playing even bigger stuff than that Pelucranos. Let's go ahead and opt, hit a Selendi Vision, not interested. I guess I am trying to hit lands, but I'm trying to hit untapped lands because we're going to play an untapped land turn 3. Actually, turn 4 we're only going to need 3 mana. You know what, I'm going to keep this. This is just our land we play on turn 4. Well, there's Kazul's Fury as well, so I guess we need to figure out which one of these is the weaker spell. Probably Kazul's Fury right now. We're going to have to do whatever we can to just survive. We can't really try to like end a game with a fling on our opponent. I'm going to hold up a Neutralize because they held on to that land there and played it. That means we're going to play something big here. And if they don't, I guess we just cast Selendi Vision or our Nimble Obstructionist. Yeah, this is bad. Would I rather just stop 6 damage with... I think I'd rather try to stop 6 damage with Storm Tamer than get in for 1. Just cash it in as a spell that's just like sacrifices gain 6 life. And it will whittle down the Pelucranos a little bit. The way this Pelucranos works, it gets counters removed from it every time it takes damage. So it'll turn into a 5/5 now. So if Pelucranos hits us one time, it's kind of like it stopped 7 damage by blocking. Because 6 from the trump block, and then it only hits for 5 instead of 6. Elegant Recovery to put an Elder Gargaroth in their hand. I'd rather counter that now or next turn. I'd rather counter it now while I just have the mana up and know what I'm doing here. Alright, so what tapped line are we playing? We're playing Kazul's Fury, that's just for sure, right? We're holding up our instants again. Because just a 2/3 is not a great blocker here. It's just going to trade into Mire Triton. I guess Obstructionist is going to do the same thing. Yeah, but we can hold up Selendi Vision instead that way. And, you know, Nimble Obstructionist does take 3 power off of Pelucranos. We make it a 2/2. In the grand scheme of things, that stops more damage than blocking Mire Triton does, I think. If we kill Mire Triton, we're stopping 2 damage this turn and 2 damage every other turn that it would have been alive. If we block Pelucranos, we're stopping 5 damage right now and 3 damage every other turn Pelucranos is alive. Because, like, if we take the trade there, then we take 5, 5, 5, 5. If we chump there, we don't take 5, and then we take 2, 2, 2, 2. Although you have to calculate Mire Triton's damage in there as well. Magic is too much math. I don't like Math the Gathering. But I'm pretty sure we block Pelucranos. Although their grave is going to get to a point where they can escape this. They need 6 other cards in their grave. It's a problem for a future day. We cannot even block anyway. Our blocker has been yeeted. So we have 5 mana for Deemworthy now. We could just kill Pelucranos and take 3. They have 4 other cards in grave. So once Pelucranos dies, they have 5 cards in grave total. They need 7 in grave because they need 6 to exile to Pelucranos. And Pelucranos is going to be part of the graveyard count. So they're 2 away. Once 2 other cards die, Pelucranos comes back. We're probably killing Pelucranos with Deemworthy. I can't take Pelucranos' damage forever, even though Pelucranos can come back pretty soon. Settle the Wilds, that's their 5th card in grave. For Pelucranos. Ooh, Toralf's Disciple. We don't have the mana to do anything other than that here. But I love Shove and Lightning Bolts in the deck. Is it worth taking 3 damage? We go down to 8. I mean, if I play Thrix, I don't want to trade Thrix into Mire Triton. If I play Poppet Stitcher, I don't want to trade Poppet Stitcher into Mire Triton. Yeah, screw it. Just load up on Lightning Bolts. I mean, I guess Thrix is the biggest play that we have, and it is going to pressure them for a little more damage for a turn instead of 3 a turn. Plus, it's instant speed, so it couldn't die to sorcery speed removal like Eldest Reborn, like our Disciple just did there. But hey, we drew a Lightning Bolt, so it mattered, right? They're going to make us discard a card here, discard our Solundi Vision. We'll cry about it, I guess. Yeah, just Lightning Bolt this Triton, and now we're not getting hit at all. Yeah, no, this is not a bad discard for us. This is fine. We will be okay. It's all okay. It's not okay. Yeah, that's going to be a 4/4 Pelucranos that can't be dealt damage, period. Oh, no, the way it works is it only prevents damage if it has counters on it. However, it is going to be a 10/10. Yeah, that's just game. It's going to be a 10/10. And those 6 counters are going to prevent the first 6 damage. They go for the Gargaroth so you can draw some cards here. That is also very bad. That is also a horrible time. Kill Gargaroth if we block and bolt. It's just gonna sit there drawing them cards forever. It is really sad that the Stitcher makes decayed tokens, so we can't block with anything the Stitcher makes. I think because of that, we're okay with losing the Stitcher here, because the tokens from the Stitcher just really don't matter unless we can get the 3 of them. When we're on the defensive, they really don't matter. Ooh, Dark Dwellers for the Lightning Bolt that we conjured up? That's fancy. That's some fancy stuff. Still don't think it really matters, because Godfarrow's Gift goes wild, as does Eldest Reborn here. They get any creature back from their graveyard to the battlefield, and they get any creature back as a 4/4 version with haste, which is a 10/10 if it's Pelucranos. Let's probably take our Poppet Stitcher here, I guess. Oh, no, they can get a Planeswalker too? Yeah, they just get Ren and 7 and go to absolute town. Get a Ren and 7, they make a 6/6 Tree Folk, because they have 6 lands right now.
Harm the trees, and you will rot at their roots.
Pelucranos doesn't have trample, right? We do get another turn. Yeah, Pelucranos doesn't have trample, so we technically get one more turn. Trying to decide if I have enough time here that I should play this out. Because that's the other thing. In best 2 out of 3, you've got a round timer. So if you're in a game that you're really likely to lose, you should often just concede if your timer's low to where you're like, I might not have enough time to complete a 3rd game, but I definitely have enough time with the way our deck is. Plus, we're just dead because they removed our blocker. Alright. So we're back on the play, which is good. That is pretty important for our deck. I, again, don't really think anything much changes. See, I think, like, on the draw in the more defensive position, we probably put in Augur instead of Seagate Stormcaller. Just little changes like that. It's the only little change I can think of. But we're on the play again, and our deck is kind of just built for the on-the-play aggro stuff going on. So we'll run it back. Definite play first. Yeah, definite keep. Don't have a lot of threats here, just turn 3 Obstructionist, but we have great spells. I don't know why it does this where it flips sides. I guess if I push it too far right, then it can't have the cliffs on that side anymore. That's really cute. Play your Llanowar Elves so I can Scorching Dragonfire it. Or play nothing. Okay, they have returned. Swamp it is. That is definitely not a Llanowar Elves. Inquisition of Kozilek, get out of here. Rude. They choose Prismari Command. They must have an artifact coming up. Godfarrow's Gift in hand. We're going to hold up Neutralize for a Godfarrow's Gift here. We are hard mind reading the opponent here for shooting our Prismari Command. Do I want to Dragonfire that? No, I just have flyers here. I don't want to Dragonfire it unless I play something that needs to get through on the ground. I am so glad we drew the Neutralize after the Inquisition of Kozilek. They're not guaranteed to have Godfarrow's Gift, but it feels like it if they discard Prismari Command. I guess the other thing is Prismari Command could like kill their Mire Triton and let us get a treasure token or draw cards or something. But Deemworthy can kill their Mire Triton and draw us a card, so I feel like it's more likely they have an artifact they want to protect. So turn 3 from our opponent, all their mana's up. We play Nimble Obstructionist end step and they play Mythos on it. Fair enough. I don't need 5 mana here, so I hold on to the Solemnity Vision and just Deemworthy in their end step. Well, not their end step, their combat here. No +1/+1 counters on this Mire Triton, please. No inscription. Although if the inscription only gets 2 counters, we just kill it anyway. Just not right now. Yeah, this is still fine. We draw a card, now they don't have an Inscription of Abundance, and we can still just kill the Mire Triton. Which I think we'll do with our Dragonfire here. I could play Solemnity Vision to guarantee a multiple choice next turn, but we can just play a Brazen Borrower next turn also. I think I'm just going to Dragonfire and keep our Solemnity Vision. Do they have another way to protect Mire Triton? If so, we'll just bounce it with Brazen Borrower. Probably should have just main phased the Scorching Dragonfire, I guess. Explore from our opponent, who is still on 3 mana here. So they draw a card, and it is still not a land. We have a Commit to Memory. So we're holding up our counterspell and just casting Brazen Borrower here. Grizzly Salvage. Reveal the top 5 cards of the library, put a creature land into their hand, the rest into the graveyard. So they definitely get their land here. I'm fine with that. Although committing that is cute. They chose, Bright Climb Pathways to get a white source if they need it, but it looks like they don't. They play a Tainted Adversary. I think I'm just going to Brazen Borrower that. Although that would let them kick it if they want, but they only get Decayed Zombies if they kick it, so don't care that much if they do. They have nothing good to reanimate in their graveyard, so I'm okay with that Priest being in there. You know what, I can also just cast Brazen Borrow and hope to draw the land for multiple choice here. What I'm gonna do. And there we go, never didn't have it. I could have at any point just played this Solemnity Vision to guarantee the casting of a multiple choice when I need it, but I am a greedy man today. And we don't need to hold up Neutralize till they have 7 mana, because I am committed to only countering a God Pharaoh's Gift. Our opponent is still on 4 mana here. This is absolutely wild. I'm gonna Young Pyro holding up Neutralize. So we can neutralize a combat trick if they want to get spicy. Or a counterspell. Or a counterspell or a removal spell. Unfortunately we can't now, because they're doing it before the Pyro's on the board, which is definitely smart of them. I'm going to let them kill the Brazen Borrower. Oh, and they played the cheap cost that lets me draw a card. Nice. I'll just trade off with this thing. Yeah, we'll just trade off with this thing. The only thing I can do is bounce it around. And I can bounce any of their spells with this, so it's like a temporary counterspell, which is really nice. So I don't think I want to use it here. We could just bash in with a bunch of little 1/1s instead, as long as we can keep this board clear. Don't need to bash in with a big old 4/4. End step, Solundi Vision. They might have removal for Young Pyro, but they don't want to cast it while we have mana up. Just a Night Pack Amateur, that's fine. Wow, that is depressing. Thank you, deck, for being very cool. I think I opt here. We have 5 mana up after I opt, which is enough to Warkite Marauder and still hold up Neutralize. Yeah, we definitely opt. Ooh, Dragon's Rage Channeler. Play that and still have... They only have 4 mana here. It's probably okay to go shields down. Just play Channeler Commit. Land. We don't have a land in grave yet, so this is going to make Channeler a 3/3 flyer, make it active. So that is sweet. Fifth mana is down. Next turn we know they're just drawing their Ambusher. They play Anguirus here, which can block flyers. And our Channeler's forced to attack, isn't it? Yep, attacks each combat fable. Wow, that is depressing. The well-timed Anguirus. Because we can have this Marauder out next turn to shut off Anguirus as a blocker, but not right now. Yeah, our Dragon's Rage Channeler has to accept defeat here. They're definitely blocking the Channeler, so I think we attack everybody. I think we definitely attack everybody, because then they might block Pyromancer. They might think Pyromancer's more important. And then we get to play Warkite Marauder, and we're guaranteed to hit for 5 each turn. Yeah, I definitely like attack all here. Alright, now we're shutting off Anguirus as a blocker every turn. And because we know they're stuck on 5 here, I'm going to stop holding the counterspell for their God Pharaoh's Gift. Because they're just never going to have the mana for it anyway. Dark Dwellers? Do we have a bounce spell? Something that costs 3 or less, right? Do a Dragonfire or Prismari command. We can do that post-combat to finish off their Anguirus. Oh, it already just can't block. Alright, either way, we just do it post-combat. They're down to 3. We can't do lethal. We don't have a 3 damage spell to face. This only does damage to a creature. We could do Prismari command. Do Solundi Vision for card draw. Or do we just do opt? I'm gonna Prismari Command. I'd rather put them to 1 than kill Anguirus, because we're going to have just a bunch of 1/1s. So the only way they win is if they can Wrath. And I think if they could Wrath, they probably already just would have done it some other time. So unless they top deck the Wrath. Mecha Godzilla, that's 2 blockers. And there's the concession. That's round 1. A victory for the blue-red Delver deck. Pretty weird round. I think it was just a really good matchup for us. I definitely think that I played like nonsense. I kind of just threw some fancy spells around as best as I could. But it worked out for us. And that'll be 4 rare wildcards in the bag now. The next win will get a bunch of basic land styles that I already own, so the next win is for nothing, but it does get us 1 step closer to our 3 player draft tokens. Alright, here we are in round 2. And I'm going to keep this hand. I'm going to cast this multiple choice turn 2 if we don't draw a land. And if we draw an island, I'm still tempted to try to get the red source, but it's only for 1 card in hand, so it's not that important. But if we don't draw any land, I think... Ooh. I was gonna say, if we don't draw any land, I think I have to just cast multiple choice. But here I can just play Spikefield Cave. Playing against blue-white here. Looking to be control, because if it was blue-white flyers, they probably would have played one already. Like a Storm Tamer or a Warkite Marauder. I think we're just going to play an end-step Borrower here. Oh, maybe it is blue-white flash here. Can't have a lot of the flyers like Borrower in there. History of Benalia. Alright, aggressive blue-white stuff. It's going to make 2/2/2 tokens over time. That's a scary enough card here that I think I play defensively and just kill the token rather than play my own aggressive creature. Now Insight can kill the next token as well as bounce the Cutthroat. But it is a sorcery, so we're probably just slamming down Brazen Borrower or committing if they play something crazy. Yeah, I don't think I'm playing Storm Tamer because that keeps us off the double blue for Brazen Borrower. And it keeps us off commit. Keeps us off like everything. Faceless Agent. Seek a creature card of the most prevalent type in their deck. So 3 mana 2/2 draw a creature. That's a great deal. 3 mana 2/2 draw a guaranteed creature. Just 3 mana 2/2 draw a card's good. But I don't believe it's worth a commit. Taking 2 from Cutthroat. Here's our Borrower. Now we're going to Inscription their Cutthroat and their token. Yeah, and we can play Storm Tamer as well. Alright, so we've killed their History of Benalia. They're down to a 2-2 on the board, and we have 4 Power of Flyers on the board. They're at 17, we're at 16, but we're getting hit by the 2-2 first. But on board, we're winning the race now. We just have to do what we can to keep it in that position. So the 2-2 does hit us for 4 here, this first turn, because it is a changeling, so it's a knight. But I think even taking that into account, we're winning the on-board race. Multiple choice is definitely not ideal against good enter the battlefield effects like Faceless Agent. But it's still probably our best play next turn because it's still a 4/4 scry 1. Draw a card. We could bounce our own creature and just recast Storm Tamer. Well, they held all of their mana up, which is wild. And not enjoyable. We know they have a Cutthroat there. They probably have Counterspell too. Our best way to play around a Counterspell, I guess, would have been to just slam down Rimrock Knight here. Could just hold up commit. I mean, that doesn't seem awful. They're at 13, taking another 4 down to 9. We have Rimrock Knight for extra damage. There's Cutthroat. And Cathar Commando. So just flashing in multiple creatures. Cutthroat turns into a 3/2 now. We could toss it back into their library. Eight power on the board. I'm gonna get rid of the Cutthroat here. Probably should have just ran out multiple choice and hoped for the best. Like if they counter it, we were pretty screwed, but just forgot there's a lot of flash creatures too, so they don't necessarily need to be running a bunch of counter spells to make Cutthroat work. Elite Spellbinder, now multiple choice just costs more, and we're revealing it to them. We're at 7, they're at 13. This can block one of our things. They block the 3/1. Block the 3/1, kill it. We only have a 1/1 left. I don't think we can win here. They have 5 cards in hand. We're about to have basically 1 because multiple choice is going to cost 1 million. Actually, I mean, we're only 1 mana off from doing it even if they target it here. But like, what do we do now that they have a flyer? Attack with just a 1/1 when we're at 7. Pretty sure we lose here. I'm just going to not give my opponent the information. We're at like a 10% chance of victory or lower there, I would assume. So blue-white stuff, blue-white flash with some flyers, some History of Benalia, some aggro generally. I feel like this is another matchup. I just kind of run it back. Although Shark Typhoon, even just making a 1/1 with Shark Typhoon, sometimes that's sick in this matchup. Make a 1/1 they can't counter, and then just like kill their Brineborn Cutthroat. That's a 2/1 when it attacks in out of nowhere. That actually seems sick to me. But I think that's it. And yeah, 1/3 is good against that too, and we're going to be... Oh wait, no, we're on the play. We're on the play, because we get to choose because we lost. But I feel like even on the play, Augur Bolas is better than Stormcaller in this matchup. For just a 1/3 against their 2/1s and 3/1s and stuff. And mainly just the 2/1s, I guess. Against a 3/1, it does the same thing Stormcaller does, it just trades. I'm not going to try to cast Epiphany against a deck that most likely has counters. Injury would not be bad here either, that does kill their stuff. I don't know what to do to make room for it though, we'll just keep this. I accidentally made a 41 card deck. I don't know if that happened during sideboarding or if it was always a 41 card deck. Oh yeah, I threw a Shark Typhoon in without cutting anything for Shark Typhoon. Alright, this hand is sick. We got Opt, Augur Bolas, Brazen Borrower. And that multiple choice later in the game. Dauntless Bodyguard. Yeah, this is just straight up like blue-white creatures. I'm not going to play around any more counter spells, I think. I think that was a big mistake last game, most likely. Like, we'll never know what was in their hand, but I feel like it very likely just there was not a counterspell, just a bunch of flash creatures. I don't know if we want this Channeler, because it doesn't fit into our curve well. We're definitely playing Augur next turn. Then we're probably toying around with Borrower. We're definitely choicing on 5. I guess this is like our turn 4 option. It's not great. I'm gonna bottom it. Definitely playing Augur here to block the Bodyguard well. We do draw a card off of it, which is sweet. I like Prismari Command for sure. Dragonfire is also good, but Command is also big enough to kill their current creature, while also giving us a treasure to play our multiple choice. We saw how good of a tempo play Prismari Command turn 3 into multiple choice turn 4 can be. We might be able to run it back. Do it again this game. That could be really cool. They know we have Prismari Command. Let's just play a land, do nothing. And we can do the command at any time. So you don't even need to do it right now. Just do it when they attack. So we can wait, because they might play like a Brineborn Cutthroat or something that's just better to kill. And like by them knowing we have command, it might even hold them off from casting the better creature. I think we can afford to take the damage here. We definitely are casting Prismari Command over anything else here so that we have access to the multiple choice. Unless, actually, if they go to their end step and only have one creature on the board, then ramping into multiple choice isn't even that good because we're not bouncing a creature with it because they just have no creature to bounce. Yeah, I guess I'm just playing a 3/1 flyer then. I'm going to get greedy with the multiple choice. I'm not going to ramp into it if I'm not bouncing a creature with it. So we'll just be playing it into an empty board. And now we can just do Deemworthy instead, kill the Bodyguard and draw a card. And it's uncounterable. That's again an end step play to me because we're winning the race. So I can afford to take the damage to have more options. Or more information on what they're doing before we use our options. Conclave Tribunal. Sure. Exile our obstructionist, I guess. Alright, I've got a sweet play here. I'm gonna kill their Bodyguard and get a treasure token. I'm going to use that treasure token to blink our Nimble Obstructionist so we can recast it later on. Oh, it only bounces opponent stuff? Okay, well this is still a solid line. I think this is still the best line we have because then our Obstructionist is out without Summoning Sickness. Not as cool as I thought it was going to be, but it's still pretty cool, still pretty good. Keeps the pressure on. And then now if they want to kill Obstructionist again, it takes their whole turn next turn to do so. And we're playing another flyer anyway. This Brazen Borrower. So we're still doing just as much damage on board there. Definitely not casting multiple choice there, because then they get to exile our token forever, even if we find a bounce spell or something for Tribunal. Elite Spellbinder. Alright. Make something expensive. I think I have to cycle Deemworthy in response, because if they target Deemworthy, then I can't cycle it anymore. And then it's just 7 mana deal 7 to a creature. So, I mean, that just guarantees they're going to choose multiple choice, but that's okay. I guess this is sad. If I draw like a really good instant or sorcery, this is going to be sad, because they make that one cost more instead. Shepherd of the Flock, bounce that to their hand. Well, that's pretty good with a good ETB effect like that. We did still draw the card because the way cycling works, we draw the card no matter what. Well, we've still got the pressure on this board state. Their board has just been clear forever from our just random annoying nonsense. 6 mana. Do this for X is 3. Make a 4/4. Inscription's a sorcery. That's rough. We're gonna just scry 2, draw 2 here. No, we're probably playing Borrow and Vision. They're gonna make Inscription cost more here. And then we'll play Salundi Vision. I don't want to do it before they use Inscription, because then they could make whatever I pull out with it cost more instead. Cloud Blazer. With the 1 mana up. Vision and see if we get Neutralize. Azul's Fury, alright. That's big. Not sure it's like lethal, but it's pretty big here. It probably is. Seven damage on the board. We hit for 4 guaranteed. Fury makes it 3 more, makes it 7. It's not lethal. Multiple choice. Multiple choice for X is 2 would cost us 5 mana. We don't have enough to Fury and to do that. We can't do anything alongside a multiple choice here. We're 1 mana off from doing Fury plus Inscription, so that ain't it either. We definitely don't want to bounce the Cloud Blazer and let them recast it, gain more life, and draw more cards. So I think we're just attacking and letting Cloud Blazer trade for one of our creatures here. We might Inscription to scry 2, draw 2, honestly, and then play Delver. Although Inscription being able to bounce any other creatures they play after this is pretty big, but multiple choice will also bounce 1 creature. And if we don't Inscription to draw some cards, I'm not gonna multiple choice to just make a 4/4, am I? Maybe. Elite Spellbinder only makes it cost 2 more, so we could still cast Inscription if they Spellbinder. So they could do what? They could go Spellbinder Shepherd, have 2 blockers, and we bounce the 2 blockers. But they could Tribunal our 4/4. I'm going to do the scry 2, draw 2. I don't know if this is right. I could see the argument for making the 4/4 there for sure. But these cards are sweet. Especially Toralf's Disciple. Stormtamer is just okay, I guess. I think we'll get rid of that. We're definitely going to keep the Haster. We drew a Neutralize alongside our Disciple. So there's Spellbinder, alright. Neutralize costs more, I guess. Well, it's probably because Zul's Fury has the choice. Oh, that doesn't even have to hit instants and sorceries. Just literally any non-land. Oh, wow. Paulo is brutal. Did not realize how good Paulo is. Needs to be an instant or sorcery to flip it? Yeah, so we're not going to reel the Shark Typhoon. We have 6 mana. We can neutralize and we can Gazul's Fury. Borrower trades for Spellbinder. This is annoying. I think I just want to play Toralf's Disciple so I can load my deck up with Lightning Bolts. But Shark Typhoon does make a 4/4 flyer. Which is very big. Yeah, let's hold up our instants. We neutralize if something wild happens, and then if not, we Shark Typhoon and make a big old shark. We're definitely attacking all. All their creatures have 1 toughness, so everything here would just be a trade, which is all good with me, all fine and dandy. Alright, well they know that's getting neutralized. They draw a card off that and keep the Spellbinder on board. Guess I could Gazul's Fury, sack the Borrower, shoot that, and still have a neutralize afterwards. That is cool. But at 5 life. Our opponent at 5 life. I want this Fury just enhanced so bad. I'm gonna counter this. I need to start playing a little faster. In case I do win this game. I don't know, 15 minutes is a lot for our deck generally. Probably. Alright, well they can't counter this. It's going to be a small thing, but I've got these spells too to cast. I'm going to be dumping all my mana into. And this draws a card as well when we play it. Every single creature matters. Seven mana now, just attack both, see what happens. Or Slam Disciple attack. Probably holding up counter spells. Although I literally said at the start of this, I'm just not going to play around counter spells anymore. They have not cast a single one all the time. But if they just straight pass here, it's flash creatures. It's the 3/1 flash to trade with Disciple, I think. I'll play around that. We know they have 3/1 flash creatures. I'm just going to go to 2. Alright, well. Show me your friggin' counterspell. So I can finally confirm you do have counterspells. Yep. Supreme Will. Great. So we do get to see the counterspell here, and it's one we can play around in game 3 for sure, because it's counter unless we pay 3. So we can keep that in mind later in the game when we have enough mana to cast something that they can't counter with Supreme Will. So I'm very happy to see that. So Soul Herders, it's like blue-white flicker. That'll flicker their Faceless Agent in the end step. They're just dead because we have Disciple, right? No, because Soul Herder flickers the Changeling and it untaps. Good lord. Yeah, Soul Herder does some stuff. However, with Gazul's Fury, they are still just dead because we have Disciple. Okay. So we're on the draw in the final game. We've already sided into the Augur Bolas, which is our on the draw sideboard. So run it back, hope for the best. Play around Supreme Will. That's about it. guess we could take out some nonsense like Siren Storm Tamer for this insult to injury. This card might be fine on the draw. No, because it's just like a really slow deal to something. Because insults could be useless if we're on the defensive. So we're going to have to spend 6 mana to use this. We're just going to have to spend 3 to insult, and then a turn later, then we can do an injury to kill one of their creatures. Yeah, that still just doesn't seem great. Though I guess I could just put like a Seagate Stormcaller in over a Storm Tamer. Just because they have enough flyers where flying doesn't matter too much. But its ability to counter like a Conclave Tribunal or something is nice. We'll just run it back. Keep the 41 card special. That's a keeper to me. They have a lot of 3/1s, so I'm going to put the Kazul's Fury down as a land turn 1 over the Spikefield Hazard, and just hold on to Spikefield Hazard to kill a 3/1 flyer or a 3/1 on the ground or any of a multitude of potential targets. Consider... Oh, I don't know where that came from. Consider from our opponent. I got blue, white up here. No instance here. I'll just go with our best threat. On an empty board, we can try to be the aggressor. Fading Hope. Put it right back in our hand. And scry 1. Turn 3, Faceless Agent. Very nice. It is a horrible card for us to bounce. So we're not going to flash in an end step Obstructionist or just play the Marauder and hold up a Spikefield Hazard for like a 3/1 or something. It's going to be very obvious we're holding something up if I just play it. If I just pass here. At the same time, it is a better attacker. The 3/1 flyer. Although Warkite Marauder does shut off a blocker every time it attacks. And it can combo with the Spikefield Hazard to kill anything. Yeah, no, that's sweet. We turn something into a 0/1 when it attacks, and then we do 1 damage to their 0/1 with Spikefield Hazard. So we can kill whatever we want. Alternatively, they just play a 3/1 and then we kill it. We don't do anything fancy. Icing Death. We're going to do something fancy. This is going to be sick. Icing Death, you're very cool, but if you have no abilities, you don't come back as a scary, mortifying equipment. Plus we're exiling you, so I guess, I mean, you definitely don't come back as an equipment. That was fun. That was nice. Warkite Marauder doing things with our Spikefield Hazard. Tezzeret. Gonna slam down the Tezzeret. And now they're gonna have a bunch of 1/1 flying tokens. I don't love that, but we've got a bunch of bounce.
Look at all this nature.
Well, we have 2 bounce. Inscription of Insight's gonna kill 2 of the tokens. But multiple choice is gonna be bad because they just get to recast their agent. While we stay aggressive here, we get to hit Tezzeret for 5. Which is not lethal. So I think I'd rather hit them for 5. Scorching Dragonfire does damage to a Planeswalker. We can hit Tez for 3 and then 3 more from Dragonfire. Yeah, that's certainly fine by me, actually.
You think you've won? This isn't the last.
See if Augur pulls out anything for us. It does? Augur Bolas has been going off. Maybe I should just main deck this thing. But we have been getting good luck off the Augur. Have not missed yet. 5 mana. Cloud Blazer is here. Opponent certainly has value. Deem worthy that Cloud Blazer, get that off the board and draw a card. Conclave Tribunal. Oh, I'm surprised they didn't kill Warkite Marauder. I'm fine with our 3-1 dying. Our 2-1 flyer has a much better ability. We have 6 mana here. I think we're just cycling Deem Worthy to kill Cloud Blazer and just hitting for 3. See what we draw before I do anything, though. Definitely hold up a blue mana, because we've got another red in hand. Ooh. Yeah, I'll play a Dragon's Rage Channeler. Two mana away from kicking this inscription. Clone Crafter, they get a random creature from our library. Hopefully it's our 1 mana 1/1 flyer. The Spectral Sailor. But it could be like a Goblin Merc Dweller or something, and that would be very good, because they play it and they Fading Hope as well. We have some good creatures in our deck. We also have some very weak creatures at this point. We have a lot of 1 mana creatures and 2 mana creatures. Whatever it is with 5 mana up, they don't want to play it. So it probably has Flash. If it's Thrix, I'm going to lose my mind if they got our best creature flashing a 4/5 flyer on us and just demolish our Warkite thing. It could be Toralf's Disciple, but they would have played it. They would have played Poppet Stitcher. Probably it's Brazen Borrower, Spectral Sailor, or Thrix. Those are our 3 flash creatures. We don't have any instance to play around it. This is rough. They got a great hit off Clone Crafter for sure. Oh. I don't think we attack. Because if we attack, they just play a Spectral Sailor and kill our Marauder and draw a card. Or a Brazen Borrower, even. But we don't have anything else that's like worth doing here. I should have sided out probably multiple choice, because they're just a deck full of good ETB effects. I don't think I sideboarded correctly. I think I'm going to scry 2, draw 2. Well, I'll draw these. Now we have Petty Theft to hold up when we go to combat? Okay. So we can see what's in their hand here. And just bounce it. Like they for sure have a flash flyer. They don't. What did they get? I was convinced. I'd rather hold up the instant than just play the Poppet Stitcher. Oh, it is Spectral Sailor. Okay, they just didn't want to take the trade because they want to draw cards off of it. If we bounce it, I don't think it goes to our hand. Because they conjured the copy, so it's theirs. I wish I knew that ruling. It's such a specific ruling because it's a ruling that only matters to alchemy. There's like, who knows alchemy rulings? Just find out, I guess. Oh, this is so bad. If it, I don't know. If it just goes back to their hand, it's such a bad play. Because it only costs them 1 mana to put it back on the board. I wish I knew that alchemy ruling. Of all things, of all the things in the world, I wish I knew that alchemy ruling. I think I want to just get a bunch of flying damage in if I can, so I'm just gonna make them recast Tribunal. So we can just attack in with a bunch of flyers and hit for 5 here. We have 5 flying damage and we shut off Spectral Sailor when we attack. Hey, there's our Spectral Sailor. We can bounce our own card with multiple choice. So we can still make a 4/4 at some point here. Oh, maybe I should have played something. I guess multiple choices are only instant or sorcery to try to get Delirium pre-combat. I should have pre-combated a multiple choice, I think. Unless I'm specifically playing around their 1 counterspell, counter for 3, or unless I pay 3. Well, that's bad. It's not horrible, though. It's basically just as bad as if they had a removal spell. Because they're spending this 1 card to kill our Warkite Marauder. Or our Obstructionist. Oh no, they do have the token that I completely forgot about. Okay, this is very bad. But it activates our Dragon's Rage Channeler. Which is nice, but now they can just Conclave Tribunal the Dragon's Rage Channeler. God. Yeah, Spectral Sailor was a very, very good hit off of Clone Crafter for them. I think it's drawn them 3 cards now. And just being a flyer matters a lot in this matchup. And now they have the Soul Herder to go off with Clone Crafter and Faceless Agent. I certainly didn't play this match ideally. I think I should have sided out maybe Inscription. And I should have realized earlier multiple choice we could just bounce our own creature with and do it that way and maybe done that, but no, we got it handed to us here with this Clone Crafter stuff. Sit concession time. Yeah, we're down to just an Augur. We play 1 of these 2. We don't even have triple blue here. Yeah, no, there's no way. With Soul Herder going off, they're pulling a creature out of our deck every turn or out of theirs, whichever one they want, plus drawing 2 extra cards a turn, 1 or 2 off Spectral Sailor. Our opponent is just valuing off there. Can't really win a game of Magic where you draw 1 card a turn and your opponent draws 3. So they had inevitability there, even if they didn't have like immediate lethal that turn. So I'm just going to move on to the next round because this is going to be a very long event. Alright, here we are in round 3, and we are going to be on the draw. But this is a pretty great hand. Mono white so far from our opponent, and they foretell a card turn 2. Azul's Fury would be fine, the 4th land to get towards the Dark Dwellers, but it's our only card that costs more than 1 or 2 mana. So I don't think it's necessary to keep that land. I'm going to play a 2/1 here or a Delver. I'm going to play the Delver here because we do have the Scorching Dragonfire. If we didn't have Scorching Dragonfire in hand, I'd probably just play the guaranteed 2/1 versus the possible 3/2 flyer. But because we have Scorching Dragonfire to double up with this Seagate Caller soon, I'm definitely going to keep that. So mono white with the Celestis here, turn 3. Could just be a mono white hand. We'll see. They have 1 mana of any color now, so whatever they want to cast, they certainly can. And I think I'd rather hold up a neutralize than just play a 1-1. Although that does flip it between day and night, which gives them the draw discard. I always forget this card has a wall of text. This card has 8 lines of text. 3 of them make it so they draw discard whenever it becomes day or night. So had I read that fully and remembered that when they flip between day and night they draw cards, I probably wouldn't have held up the counterspell, and then I would have got slammed by a Felidar retreat, so sometimes it just works out. I'm just going to Dragonfire this Giant Killer. Well, now that I'm drawing a Poppet Stitcher... Yeah. Now that I'm drawing a Poppet Stitcher, I'm going to wait. Rather than just get 1 damage in here. We don't need to kill this immediately. I'm not scared of it tapping things right now, and the only reason to kill it immediately would be to get 1 damage in. So now that we have Poppet Stitcher making decayed zombies when we cast instants and sorceries, we would much rather cast it later. It's just like mono-white stuff here. Mono-white control, mostly, it looks like, because they have like the landfall threat right there. But then it's like Giant Killer's a removal spell, Doomscar's a Wrath, Teferi's Protection's a Fog, Celestis is a draw engine. So like mono-white control, pretty much. Weird. Weird stuff. I'm just gonna put 5 power on this board. Angara. If we attack with 2 creatures, they draw a card. Yep. 1 mana off from multiple choice going off. But at 1 mana, we also have Dark Dwellers. Alright, I'm going to tap out for multiple choice here because we have Dark Dwellers next turn, so I'm going to cast absolutely nothing this turn if I don't multiple choice and play a 4/4. And that would give them another card draw off Celestis, another draw discard off of the Celestis. And a 4/4 on this board state is pretty important because it attacks into Mangara well without having to potentially Scorching Dragonfire. Approach of the Second Sun. Yep, it's very, very much mono-white control. And I'm glad I slammed down this 4/4 because this is going to be a matchup where we have to play as aggressively as possible. And our most aggressive play we could possibly do is to attack all and let them draw the card, so that we can kill Mangara with Scorching Dragonfire and use Brazen Borrower's mana? I feel like that's wrong. I feel like we just bounce Mangara here and then attack all. And then they don't get the card draw and we hit for quite a bit. And they don't get the card draw of Celestis 2. 6 away from the approach. If they cast Approach of the Second Sun again, we die. Ooh, that's disgusting. They're going to fabricate some servos out, so even if the Angel dies, they have 1/1 blockers to block our Rimrock Knight. I wish we could counter this by shooting that here, but we can't. The Fabricate trigger resolves either way. 5 mana for Dark Dwellers. Can play 1 more Dragonfire. Get rid of 1 of these 1/1s, but then our 3/1 dies. Most aggressive thing we can do. It's going to be the best attacker into the Mangara as well. Just Menace means Mangara is just not going to block it. Champion of Wits. Draw 2, discard 2. I don't want it. I don't want you drawing any cards. That's not cool. Approach is 3 cards away. Approach is the 3rd card in their library now. They're blue-white. Oh, I did. Champion of the Wits was the first blue spell they played all game, and I just realized. They're blue-white. Torrential Gearhulk, so it's blue-white control. Wow, they're 3 cards away from approach, and if I attack with more than one creature, then they draw another card and get closer to approach. But I feel like I'm supposed to attack with everybody. Mangara gains them 2 life, so the blocks they do that stop the most damage. We play Disciple. I mean, I think we just play Disciple and just slam. They can figure out whatever their best blocks are. We just hope they don't have another card draw spell. If they have another card draw spell, they might just approach us next turn. But I think we get one more attack after this, and if we can kill them in one more attack, we get there. And having a playset of lightning bolts in the deck will definitely help potentially do that. Oh yeah, they're going to 1 with Mangara here. Alright. Approach is literally the top card of their library. They only have 7 mana though, so they would have to play a land and a cantrip, and it'd have to be a 1 mana cantrip. You have to go land, opt, approach of the Second Sun. If they can't do that, or like a Wrath, then we're there. We got them. Because approach is a sorcery, so we get to attack with everybody still. That way we don't lose to a single targeted removal spell on Goblin Dark Dwellers. Oh god, there's the island. Is it the island opt approach? It's island seal away. Just before passing. I'm not going to instant speed the seal away. They're still dead on board then. And there's the bolt. They're dead on board, so I'm just going to present the attacks. And then once they dump mana into whatever way they're going to try to survive, I'll respond once they have less mana open by bolting them. Oh, alright, so now their mana's down, now we bolt. I forgot about the man land. Alright. That was nice. The one attack with Taurus Disciple. And then just drawing one of the single play set of lightning bolts that we shuffled into the deck the turn before the approach. So I mean we're gonna be on the draw here, but we're 100% the aggressor every game against this white-blue control deck. So I don't think we try to slow our deck down at all with any searches. Shark Typhoon would be okay. I mean, we didn't see counterspells from them. We just saw Wrath and removal. Yeah, we saw Seal Away, Torrential Gearhulk. We didn't see a single counterspell. We just saw removal spells, Wraths, and Approach. So I actually don't even think Shark Typhoon's necessarily that good. We just want stuff with more power. The uncounterability of it is not that fancy. I'm actually pretty cool with running it back, but I also do like the Augur of Bolas. It has been putting in some work every time we've tried it. Dragonfire didn't look great here. They played one creature and it was Mangara. No, Dragonfire is good against Champion of Wits. Dragonfire exiles, right? Yes, Scorching Dragonfire exiles, so it is very good against Champion of Wits. I don't know, could see cutting it, but I'll keep it in for now. Definitely like Prismari Command. Blow up their Celestius. Deemerly's fine. 5 mana to kill Mangara. Run it back. Don't know what to cut for Augur, so we're just gonna run it back. Okay. Game 2 now. Pretty keepable hand. A little awkward. All threes, but I don't think we can complain much here. And now we did draw a 2-drop, and it's a 3-power, 2-mana creature. Nice to get things started and get aggressive. Well, most of our stuff is instant speed in hand too. The only non-instant in our hand is Poppet Stitcher. Ooh, Prismari Command's gonna be straight gas. I'm just gonna blow up the Celestius. Just very pumped about this Prismari command. And now we can Spectral Sailor during their end step, or we can hold on to the treasure token to potentially play a Thrix next turn if we hit a land. So they have 4 mana here. They go for a Felidar Retreat. That's going to be a problem. That's going to give them 2/2s. Spectral Sailor guarantees 1 more mana here, but I can still just treasure token into Spectral Sailor if I don't draw the land. I'm just doing 1 less attack with it. So, ooh, and now I can Thrix. Thrix can be countered, but we haven't seen them play any counters yet. So I'm probably just going for it with Thrix. Could kill a 2/2 and draw a card by spending 3 here, but I'd rather just play a bunch of flyers and go above their creatures. Because the Felidar Retreat is certainly in here just to get like ground blockers. Could exile Champion of Wits, but again, I don't really care about what's on the ground. If I kill it in response to its trigger, does it still happen? Or does it have like 0 power because it's gone? I feel like it still happens. It technically has like 2 power just stated on the card, so I don't think I can like counter that ability with Spikefield Hazard. If I'm wrong there, and you can, then that's probably what we're supposed to do rather than just Thrix. Because we could do that and still Obstructionist. Ooh, Kazul's Fury? That could very much find lethal out of nowhere. Very much. Obstructionist Hazard seems like the plan. Do I want to Hazard Champion of Wits here and just trade Rimrock Knight for a 2/2? Nah. Six mana now from our opponent. Are they gonna buff the field and get Vigilance? Weird. I mean, I'm gonna Spikefield Hazard Obstructionist here either way, so I might as well just kill the champion then. I shouldn't say that I'm gonna Spikefield Hazard Obstructionist either way, I should say that I'm gonna Obstructionist either way. So I have like 1 mana lying around I'm gonna do something with. And killing that seems probably a little better than just dumping out a Spectral Sailor. Seal away on our Thrix. We can counter its ability. That's going to be better than playing this, because we draw a card and keep our 4/5 flyer out. Yeah, that was nasty. That was a great Nibble Obstructionist. kill their token and hit for 7 if they don't have a counter here. We could also just hit for 4 in the sky and have a Gazul's Fury up and play a Delver. Just hit in the sky. I should have done that post-combat, but I'm getting sloppy. Approach of the second sun. I think we just win. They're at 13. Feels likely. Especially if Delver flips. Ooh, show me the money. 7, 8. I think we definitely win, but we're technically not right now. Not yet. But they're 6 cards away. Facing 8 flying damage, and we have Gazul's Fury in hand. Well, I guess I'll cycle a Deemworthy. Draw a card here. Dragon's Rage Channeler is the draw. Doesn't have haste. So I think we're attacking all. I guess they could have Settle the Wreckage, so maybe not everybody. Let's do this. Okay, so they just go for the cave. Yeah, so we still just have lethal because Gazul's Fury. Yeah, this is fine. One mana up, 2 mana up. Spell Pierce! Oh no! I sacked the wrong creature! Oh, snap. I did not think that it would matter. But we're seeing all the counterspells we did not see in game 1 here. I should have taken the extra 5 seconds to do that correctly and sacrifice the Delver instead of the 3-1, because the 3-1 was going to trade and the Delver was not. But it does not matter. It looks like our opponent doesn't find a way to survive another combat step after that one. So that's going to be 2-0 for the Delver deck in that game, and 2-1 for the total record. All right, here we are in round 4, where the most important prizes are on the line, the 3-player draft tokens. We're going to need to win one more round to get those, and we have 1 round of breathing room. I can lose 1 round in these next 2. So as long as I win 1 round in the next 2 rounds, then I'll get player draft tokens. That made no sense. I'm not I am not a great explainer. So we've got a decent opening hand. We have a turn 1 play and a turn 3 play. It does have a lot of mana in it, so we could potentially flood out. Well, we'll see. We'll see how we draw here. Our opponent is still thinking on their mulligans, I think. They are going to take 1. Down to a 6-card hand here, I presume. Alright, 6-card hand it is. Here we are with turn 1 Siren Storm Tamer. Irrigated farmland, turn 1 from our opponent. Could be another blue-white control deck. We'll see. Ooh, it's going to be more multicolored than that. Inspiring Vantage from our opponent. So they're Jeskai at least and a Delver of Secrets on the board. I'm ready to Deem-worthy that. Even if it flips, Deem-worthy does enough damage to kill it and draws a card. Deem-worthy has been going off. So it does feel like one of those cards that seems like kind of a weird inclusion to the cube, but and potentially, you know, a weird inclusion to the deck, but certainly has been working thus far. We're going to let them draw a card off Celestius here because we are not going to cast a spell main phase next turn. So that's going to be a thing. Going to kill Storm Tamer here? Okay, they just sat there for a while thinking with their 1 mana, and I was like, are they about to shoot Storm Tamer? Because they took a peek at it. Should probably Deem-worthy later, because it's an ability, not a spell, so very few things that can counter an ability. The only thing I can think of in the cube is our Obstructionist here. So this way, they might flip their Delver, and then we get to see what's on top of their library. Although, this way they could have, like, combat tricks to save it. Alright, well, we know they didn't draw an instant or sorcery here, so I guess we get that information. I probably should have just main phased it, so that, so they couldn't have a protection spell or a combat trick here. I wasn't thinking of that part. I was just like, we could get some free information, but it's not technically free. There is a risk here in Deem-worthy during their turn. But we don't get any advantage at like stopping the Celestis from flipping because we're not casting a spell with it, so it's going to flip tonight either way when our plan is to Deem-worthy. Banefire, our Obstructionist. That's pretty rude. I'm going to just not, I guess we're not going to Deem-worthy here. Rather keep a 3/1 flyer out than a 1/1 flyer. If they have 2 removal spells, then I mean that works. Alright, cool. We keep our 3/1 flyer here for now. They didn't want to flip today? This is weird. The only reason you would do this is if you specifically don't want to flip today. They didn't want to draw a card, discard a card here. They don't want to loot. I guess they really like all their cards in hand, so they don't want to just mill one, I suppose. Alright. That occurs. About to play a no-value Goblin Dark Dwellers just to have a 4/4 menace on board. Yeah! They played land, Cold Steelheart, and Behold the Multiverse. I have no idea why they didn't want to flip today. Because none of those cards seem like something you wouldn't want to just draw discard. Like the land and the Cold Steelheart, they had either a land or a Cold Steelheart in there, guaranteed. I guess they flipped today now, so it all pans out the same either way, I guess. I think now I will go ahead and just Deem-worthy the Delver to draw a card because I don't want to do the inscription yet. We could get to where we're kicking it, and it also doesn't do a ton here. Scry 2 draw 2 is solid, but ooh, Spikefield Hazard. Can definitely be good against blue-red. Against Delvers for sure, but we already killed the one Delver. But if they have a bunch of 3/1s and 2/1s like we do. Ooh, Spectral Sailor is so nice. 6/7 mana. I think I'm just going to play Sailor and draw cards off of that, holding on to the rest of my spells for a rainy day. Like, we could scry 2, draw 2 here, but we could also just play a Sailor and still draw 1, and then be able to use the other abilities on Inscription if we need to, and we're only 1 single mana away from kicking it, just using all the abilities. Brineborn Cutthroat. Well, I'm going to love killing that. Should I kill that during their turn so they can't give it a counter? If they have another instant here, they can give it a counter and counter our Spike Field Hazard, but if I wait till their turn, they couldn't do that. Alright, there's the instant, so goodbye, Cutthroat. Unfortunately, our Obstructionist is already gone, so we can't counter a Seal Away effect again. But wow, that has been a sweet way to use Nimble Obstructionist. So I hope that comes up in this matchup, because that would be awesome. Probably should have slammed down Sailor during our turn, because they're doing a lot of instant speed stuff. They could be playing counter spells. Again, it's one of those things where I think the number of times that I talk about playing around a counter spell outweighs the amount of times my opponent actually has the counterspell by like 10 to 1. It's insane. Is this the one time? It is not. This must be instant speed removal then. It sure is. Oh, but at least we draw a card off this. Yeah, we get to investigate and draw a card. I'm in love with that. Well, I mean, I don't love losing Spectral Sailor, but I think it is better than better than pretty much any other removal spell. Now let's kick our Inscription. Let's go ham. Scry 2, draw 2, bounce their token, and create our own token. You draw a young Pyromancer. So we did actually kick our Inscription of Insight in a game. Something that I said I was pretty sure was not going to happen. Oh god, Scholar of the Lost Trove is massive. They recast an instant or sorcery for free. Choose the Lore Hold command. Kill our 3/3 token. And get their 3/2 token back. Warkite Marauder can attack into a Scholar of the Lost Trove and turn it into a 0/1, which is just absurd. I like playing that and the Pyromancer and holding up a commit, I think. We can use commits to temporarily deal with the Scholar or permanently deal with the token on the ground. And I don't even think we need to deal with the Scholar unless we're worried about it attacking us hard. I guess we could bounce Lightning Bolt here even. Just delay that for a bit. And get a 1/1? Sure. Delay the Lightning Bolt. Probably would be better to commit the token. It could be better to commit the token, because just attacking with Warkite Marauder, we can shut off the Scholar, and then if we committed the token, then our Elemental and our Toralf's Disciple could be attacking as well without fear of dying. But now we're going to play Toralf's Disciple, and it's just going to trade into the 3/2. But then, you know, we do have that thing where potentially Pyromancer makes more stuff, although Torrential Gear Hulk is going to shut off those dreams. Yeah, Gear Hulk kind of makes it so killing the token would have done just nothing for us anyway. This is really bad. Scholar of the Lost Trove and Torrential Gear Hulk are both just massively impactful cards. They're a huge threat on the board, and they're 2-for-1s each time because they just pull a free removal spell from the grave. Actually, a 3-for-1 on the Scholar because they got to do Lorehold Command, which is a removal spell plus a creature. So this has really quickly gotten out of hand in our opponent's favor. I don't think we have any good blocks. I don't think it's worth losing Warkite Marauder to kill the 3-2. Yeah, this is horrible. We need to close the game way faster against this deck if they have cards like Scholar and Torrential Gear Hulk. When they get to this point, they just go to Value Town with 3-for-1s across the board. Yeah, no, that was a 2-turn cycle Scholar into Gear Hulk where it's just like, I win. Game isn't over. We get real aggressive here still. Play Dragon's Rage Channeler as a potential blocker. I'd rather draw a card before my deck has a bunch of lightning bolts or after. Probably after. We chump block that, take 8. So I think we just leave 1 blocker up. Hope they don't top deck. Although they can flip between day and night with Celestia, so they can guaranteed draw Lightning Bolt to deal with one of our creatures. So we need 2 blockers up to survive, so we leave the 1/1 Elemental back too. So we definitely can chump block that, but then even we take 8 and then Lightning Bolt for 3. We kind of just died a Lightning Bolt, don't we? I guess we just draw pre-combat and see if we can get 2 blockers here. 2 extra blockers. Ooh. Okay, well, Scorching Dragonfire is good enough. No, it isn't because we don't have double red. So they draw into their Lightning Bolt, and then they kill our 1/1 token and attack with everybody, and we can only block... Oh, well, we can't block anything, but we can kill the 3/2 and take 10. So we don't... We have to hold Twirl's Disciple back to chump block with? And then we've got no way to try to win. But it gives us 1 more turn. So yeah, they just draw discard to cast Lightning Bolts on her Disciple, and then we're chump blocking with the 1/1 on the 5/6, killing the 3/2 and taking 5. Because the alternative here, if we only held 1 blocker up by attacking with Disciple and getting a bunch of Lightning Bolts into our deck, would be we have 0 blockers here, and we die even if we kill the 3/2. That's 2 chump blockers, but none in the sky. So we only have 3 for Dragon's Rage Channeler Delirium. So we have to hold Warkite Marauder up to chump block. So we're not attacking at all here. Could just cast Memory, but that seems dumb. Because then our opponent has a full grip of 6 cards to go to town. We have no mana up. Alright, well, that was a good draw. That'll do it. Alright, if we have any counterspells in the sideboard, that's going to be big here. I feel like we were generally in a pretty good position until Scholar of the Lost Trove, Torrential Gear Hulk. Like, those 2 cards in conjunction, as I said, were just such a massive value swing in our opponent's favor. Prismari Command is sick in this matchup just to kill that Gear Hulk and do some other stuff. I think I like Shark Typhoon here. And that is about it. I mean, if it's a value match, Muldrifter would be fine. But we're also on the play trying to get aggressive to just kill them before they do any of that nonsense. So I don't want to make the deck like way slower or anything. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to keep Muldrifter out of here, but I'm just going to throw in Shark Typhoon and do the 41 special. Definitely playing first, and definitely keeping this. This is a really good hand if we can draw lands. Even if we can't, we can just play Stormcaller, and we still can Scorching Dragonfire and all that. Well, they've got the burn. Yeah, our opponent has all the cheap red removal spells we were wanting. Lightning Bolt, Play with Fire, that kind of stuff. Haka, Whispering Raven. That's weird. They just scry 2. That's fine. Let's just get a bunch of Lightning Bolts. And also start hitting our opponent for 3 a turn. Toralf's Disciple isn't just to throw lightning bolts in your deck. That's just the coolest thing it does. Cold Steel Heart on blue, and a land for turn is a Plains. 4 cards in their hand here, and they scry 2 with Haka, which puts it back in their hand, which means nothing on board. Both of the cards are scried to the top here, and we do draw into the Lightning Bolt. So we can Stormcaller double Lightning Bolt our opponent's face. Wait a second. Copy the next instant or sorcery mana value 2 or less when you cast it. Yeah, sure. I'll double Lightning Bolt their face here, I guess. Whoa, that is the worst auto-tapping I've seen in a while. Alright, well that's the best I've seen a Seagate Stormcaller do. I'm liking our position. So they play a Haka to block with, and a Bolt on the Disciple. Yeah, we can blow up the Haka, attack for 2, they're down to 6, and we have 7 copies of Lightning Bolt in our deck. And then we can scry 1, draw 1 here with multiple choice after our Dragonfire if we want to. I'd rather hold off on the multiple choice. Because we're 1 mana away from the cream of the crop multiple choice, the 4/4, scry 1, draw 1, and bounce a card. Our opponent's mana base is very good. Saw a ton of non-basics game 1. Now we see a Fabled Passage this game. And kill it in our upkeep. They're going to Gear Hulk in our upkeep. Well, that's going into your hand. Oh no, they've got a Lightning Bolt. In the grave. We've got a Lightning Bolt in hand. Can put them to 3 and then just hope to draw another Lightning Bolt. Scry 1, draw 1, dig for Lightning Bolts, or we could just Inscription digging for Lightning Bolts here. But we need another red source to cast 2 in 1 turn, so I really want to cast one right now. So I think I'm going to multiple choice just to scry 1, draw 1. Just give me a Lightning Bolt. Alright. Thanks, game. Bolt while they're tapped out. Final Bolt is in hand. Yes, tap out for a bunch of draw spells, please. If they Lightning Helix to survive. If it goes to our turn and I try to bolt them in the face and they respond with a Lightning Helix, I'm gonna cry. Play a Delver. They have 2 mana up. Oh, but that's not a white mana, that's a blue mana, so they couldn't have Lightning Helix. Could be a counterspell? No counterspell. Alright, 1 and 1. Heading to game 3. Run it back, let's go. That is a 2-lander. It looked really sketchy at first, but red source, blue source. We have a 3-mana card and some 4-mana cards, but we can cycle neutralize. Dragon's Rage Channeler lets us surveil if we manage to cast anything to set up our draws. And opponent's on the play, so we're on the draw. I'm gonna keep it. We are on the draw. Ooh. Now I might be able to actually just use this Spikefield Hazard against their Delver or something like that. Or double it up with a Stormcaller if we just hit straight lands on our draw steps. Would I rather play a Stormcaller or play Solemnity Vision tapped? Because I'd rather play Solemnity Vision than Spikefield Hazard as a land here so that I can have double blue for neutralize in the future. I think I want to attack first and see if anything happens. Oh yeah, alright. Well, we're playing Solemnity Vision tapped then. Because we're casting this hazard. And throwing this land in the grave to help trigger Delirium, because we're going to have 3 out of the 4 lands we need to cast literally everything in hand. Deem worthy, we cycle this in this matchup a lot. I mean, I guess they do have the 2, they have the 5/5 and the 7/7. That we might want to hard cast the full 5 Deem worthy on. Okay, what do we do here? Hold up a neutralize, because playing a 2/1 against this 2/3 blocker doesn't do much. Yeah, sure. I mean, we could still play it, because then they don't just like hit us and scry 2. Because then we crack back at them. I guess they can still do that, because they're at 19, they can take some damage here. But I just don't think a 2/1 on this board is that impactful. We're not off to the greatest aggressive start we've ever had. Could have countered that to keep them off red. Maybe I should have. Could also just put it back into their library, I guess. With commit. We do that now. And that does force them to draw a dead card at that point. 2 turns from now, it's going to be not super impactful. Yeah, let's see if this pans out. We might just counter it. Still not certain I want the 5th Deem-worthy mana. I mean, I guess we get to kill Haka with it then, but we can kill Haka with a Boulder Rush. And as soon as we hit Delirium, Dragon's Rage Channeler can just straight up beat Haka. And I shouldn't say we can beat Haka with Boulder Rush, we can just trade with Haka. We just need any creature in our graveyard and Dragon's Rage Channeler will be active. So Behold the Multiverse from our opponent, scry 2, draw 2. Both to the bottom. And they draw the mountain. So they put the red source on the bottom, a bold play from our opponent, but rewarded, they hit the red source to just play his land for turn instead. We do hit our Deem-worthy mana here if we want to just kill Haka. But then they're going to have 6 mana next turn. We're not going to be able to neutralize something. Do I want to trade Boulder Rush plus Channeler for Haka? Yeah, because it is going to be all ruined if it comes back to their hand. And we do not want them to have a consistent card draw engine like that. That draws them potentially 2 cards a turn if they're lucky. An average of like 1 card a turn, I'd say. They're going to kill our Channeler in response, or are we trading? We are trading. All right. Play a Torrential Gearhulk and recast a Behold. So if they cast a Torrential Gearhulk, that is definitely getting countered. Because that would be a very good deal. They just passed the turn. So we can play a Rimrock Knight. And we will pass the turn as well. Get a treasure token off the Magma Opus. They're going to try to cast that for free off of Torrential Gearhulk. 100%. They're trying to cast that for free off of something if they're discarding it here. With 6 mana out. Scholar it is. That'll get countered. We could Memory and shuffle their grave back in so they can't do anything if they have Torrential Gearhulk in their hand too. But what are the odds that they have both the Scholar and the Gearhulk? I feel like it's not great, and giving them a full grip of 7 to untap and play around with while we're tapped out, again, just feels bad. Like, Memory is not a super great card. You play Commit mainly for Commit. Probably just accept that Seagate Stormcaller isn't going to do anything at this point. Right? I think I do. Just get that extra damage in. If I had the mana to play this and still hold up the counterspell last turn, I should have done that. But I don't think I did. 1, 2, and then we had 4 left. Yeah, we didn't have enough to play that and Rimrock Knight. So our opponent cycles land here, draw a card. Bane fires the Rimrock Knight. And land for turn. So they have 1 card in hand here. So basically we're doing good unless they top deck Torrential Gearhulk, and if they do, we lose on the spot. Like, we're in the driver's seat unless our opponent top decks one specific card out of these 23, but they scried 2 to the bottom, so it's 1 out of 21. Because they scried 2 non-Gearhulk cards to the bottom, I'm assuming. So every turn they live is a 1 in 21, then 1 in 20 chance that we just lose on the spot. But at the same time, like, if I just cast a Memory, they have a full grip of 7 cards, right? And, like, sure, they can't do the Magma Opus from the grave for free anymore to just win immediately. But they can also just have it in hand and a Gearhulk in hand and then just cast a Magma Opus and then Gearhulk can cast it again. I can't see how it would possibly be correct to cast Memory here. We just have to hope. It might be correct to cycle Deemworthy. I guess I'll wait till combat here in case they have a flash blocker. Their only cheap creature I remember they could have is like Delver. So we could still Deemworthy a Delver if they draw into it. I'll give it one more turn. I'll do it during their end step rather than during our main phase. Oh, well. That's game. Gain 5 life, draw 5 cards. They are up to 15, full grip of 6. We've got a Deemworthy and a 1-1 and a 2-1. So here we are in round 5, sort of a final boss here. This is what we really want to win to get those player draft tokens, and if we lose, we are out entirely. So we are on the play with a very nice hand here. Young Pyromancer turn 2 with cheap instants and sorceries to just go off with it. Even our creatures in hand are instants and sorceries because they are creatures with adventures on them. Your opponent is on green, red, and they foretell a card here. Could scry 1, draw 1, try to hit a land off of this opt. If we do hit a land, we play it and then play a 2-drop creature like Rimrock Knight or Marauder based on which land it is. And then if we don't hit the land, then we play Spikefield Hazard Tap so we can have 3 mana next turn. Although that wouldn't matter because our only 3 mana card is double blue. So maybe we do just slam Marauder down. Could be Crush the Weak here from our opponent, foretold, for 2 damage to each creature, so I don't think that I want to just slam down Marauder. Yeah, I'm going to scry 1, draw 1. It is a land, but because it's not a blue source, I think we get rid of it because everything in our hands is 2 mana, unless it requires double blue. Now we do have Obstructionist as a 3-drop. I think I'll play the Cave here. Seasoned Pyromancer from our opponent. Draw 2, discard when they play it. For each non-land card they discard, they get a 1/1. There's the next blue we were looking for. Send in the 1/1 here. What does this do from the grave? Something stupid, right? 5 mana exile, I get 2 more 1/1s. So just like a bunch of 1/1s. I'll go ahead and get my Boulder Rush value here. Then we'll hold up Petty Theft and Spectral Sailor. Rada, Heart of Keld. You can play lands from the top of their library. And once they have 6 lands, they can make her absolutely massive. Do I want to Petty Theft here? Petty Theft and play a Spectral Sailor? Or do I want to just play a 3/1 flyer? If I Petty Theft, play a Sailor, I'm attacking for 1, because it's not like Pyromancer's coming in, so I'm attacking with an Elemental and a 1/1 flyer. I think I'd rather just play an Obstructionist and attack in the sky. I'm still worried about this being 2 damage to everything. So I don't want to like overextend much more than this. I can't think of what else it would be in red-green. Unless like Serap's Packmate is in there. I don't think Serap's Packmate is in this cube. Cycling a Sheltered Thicket. 2 mana up. They pass turn. Hit for 6 in the sky if I cast this Brazen Borrower here. It's a lot of damage. I'm gonna go for it. Oh, Inscription of Insight. Bounce both their creatures to hand, hit for 6, 7, 8, 9. But I can also scry 2, draw 2, and still hit for 6, put them down to 9 life, and have a bunch of backup plays for the future. Yeah, we're getting 3 extra damage by inscriptioning that way. Not sure that's worth it. The only thing instant speed I'm going to do is Spectral Sailor, so I think I might as well Rimrock Knight. Like, worst case scenario, that's just bait for the Crush the Weak. Because I don't think Rimrock Knight matters too much to have post-Wrath. This hand's pretty good at drawing us a bunch of cards and getting us back into the game after a Wrath. Rimrock Knight doesn't really add to that much. So draw a card off the Mind Stone. I really wish I knew what the green Foretell card in the cube is, because there's like Foretell cards in every other color in the cube. There's Starnheim Unleashed and Doomscar in white, Behold the Multiverse in blue, Alrund's Epiphany in blue. Can't possibly be Crush the Weak if they don't cast it right here, right now. But I mean, at this point, we're just all in on Inscription. What on earth is their Foretold card? It's Behold the Multiverse. The plot twist of the century. I should have just been playing more aggressive. I would have just killed them a century ago. Not a century ago, but like a turn earlier. Yeah, it was Behold the Multiverse. I don't know how to look at it now. You're supposed to be able to look at it post-game, which I did like real quick when they conceded, but I don't know how to look at it during sideboarding. Oh, here we go. There we go. Yeah, it's Behold the Multiverse. So they're green, red, blue. Oh, they already discarded a Bull Drifter at some point, and I just didn't even notice. I don't know when that happened. Oh, discarded it to Seasoned Pyromancer. Yeah, so I should have just already known they were green, red, blue. And then it might have dawned on me that it could be a Behold there, or an Epiphany or something. So I don't really know what to do against this matchup. They just have like Seasoned Pyromancer, Rada, Mindstone, Bull Drifter. It's just like teamer value. Green, red, blue stuff with some card draw ETB effects and card draw off the top of your library with Rada. Mindstone cycles itself to draw a card when you're done ramping with it. Definitely teamer with a lot of cards that give you value. I don't think Shark Typhoon's great here, 'cause it's just going to be a pretty small token against their stuff, and I do think Flyers look to be good against them outside of their Mole Drifter. So I'd rather just play our regular, like, beefy 3-1 Flyers and stuff that are efficient on the curve. Pretty cool with running it back. But I did also enjoy the Augur, so we could put that back in. But other than that, eh. No fancy 41 card special this time. I should have played with the Dracula art lands. I should have purchased the Dracula art lands just so I could have an excuse for just never sideboarding, because I'm not good at sideboarding. Apparently, if you have not heard, the Dracula lands are actually glitched. You just can't sideboard if you have the Dracula lands in your deck. I have absolutely no idea why. I'm not a programmer. I don't know how that could cause that, but apparently that's a thing. So I got rid of the Deemworthy there, because we didn't see a lot of like 2 toughness or less creatures for it to kill, and I really like the curve that we managed to do of the Prismari command into multiple choice. Turn 3 command, turn 4 multiple choice. That has just been awesome. Anytime we can do it. That being said, nothing to blow up with Prismari command here means I'm probably just casting Toralf's Disciple and we're holding on to multiple choice for another day. Yeah. Disciple makes our Delver of Secrets much more likely to trigger, because now we have 4 more instants in our deck. They have 5 mana now, and Escape to the Wilds. They're just playing a bunch of card draw. Wow, this is teamer value for sure. Oh, they've got a Magma Quake. Deal a bunch of damage to everything without flying, so I am glad Delver triggered here. So it's now flying. It will survive Magma Quake. Our deck's actually pretty good against Magma Quake, but they also have Vivian, which should kill Delver, but that would cost like all their mana. They have a lot of stuff they can play, but they can only play pretty much 1 or 2 of these cards next turn. So I'm feeling pretty spicy here. We're attacking for 6, putting them down to 9. Yeah, things feel like they're working quite alright here. I'll go ahead and opt during our turn. In case we draw a sorcery, we want to play more than we want to play command. Alright, that is not that. We're just going to play command during their end step. An extra 2 damage to them and probably draw 2, discard 2. So they go ahead and play Vivian to destroy our Insectile Aberration.
I've lost so much already. I won't lose.
And I don't know if they've played their extra land per turn yet, but if they haven't, then they go land Magma Quake. Oh no, that only does 1 damage. Yeah, X would be 1, what am I talking about? So Disciple lives. Earthshaker Kenra's down. So what's our plan here? Is there any way to find lethal? 3 damage to them if we can get this Kenra out of the way. Puts them to 6 life. We can do 2 more damage with command. So they're essentially at 4 life. So even if we top deck a Lightning Bolt, that wouldn't be lethal. 1, 2, 3, they go down to 6. 2, they go down to 5. Or they go down to 4. Bolt, they go down to 1. So, I feel like we Dragonfire the Kenra rather than command the Kenra, because that'll exile it so they can't bring it back later. And if we really want to kill Vivian, we can just attack her, and we can kill her with command as well. Selendi Vision's the draw. We're not going to cast that here. I'd rather Prismari command. We can Prismari command and cast Selendi Vision, actually. I think that's what I want to do. Prismari command to get a treasure token and kill Vivian. Although with a boatload of bolts in our deck. They're dead to 2 bolts, though. They're dead to 2 bolts either way. Even if I do 2 to them, they're down to 4. That still takes 2 lightning bolts to kill. See, I don't think 1 additional or 2 additional damage to their face matters here. All that matters is the number of lightning bolts it takes to kill our opponent, which is 2. It's 2 either way. Alright, there's Rada. There's Sarkin, which can't kill our Disciple, it just makes a 4/4 flyer. Alright, so if we multiple choice next turn, we just bounce Rada, and then we don't get to attack in, really. Hey, there's a lightning bolt. Well, if we top deck a lightning bolt, we just go. We don't top deck a lightning bolt. I think we do multiple choice here. Like, we could try to get lethal by scry 1, drawing 1 here. But we can also multiple choice holding up a lightning bolt. I would rather scry that away and get closer to another lightning bolt. And there it is. Okay. Make them bounce a card. They bounce the Rada, the smart choice. So now if we want to kill their dragon, we have to lose this lightning bolt, which I do not think is worth it. So I think we just pass the turn. Actually, because they're slightly blue, there's no way they're playing counter spells. They're just green-red with a tiny blue splash. Yeah, there's no way they're playing counter spells. We'll hold on to Bolt in case something really weird happens. Maybe they play some, like, lifelink haste creature with 10 power or something.
Look to the skies.
Beanstalk Giant is on the board, a 9/9 Jolly Green Giant. Foretell a card, that's all the mana down. We know Double Bolt gets there. And we've got Triple Bolt. So that will do it. 2-0. And as far as I'm concerned, I won the whole thing. That's all I wanted. I got all of the prize I was looking for. The 3 player draft tokens are on lock. The only other prize that I am mildly interested in would be the Jace Avatar, but I'm still never going to use it. I'm literally never going to use the gold metal card sleeve. I would literally never use this Avatar, and wild cards and just cards are irrelevant to me. So that'll end the video. I'm gonna resign here. No, let's keep playing it out. If we can get more random cosmetics, that's cool. I'll see how far we can take the Blue-Red Delver list, but super happy to make it to 3 wins. That was my goal for the event. Anything we can get past here would just be some sweet stuff. So here we are now, round 6 on the play. This hand is not keepable. We just play a Storm Tamer and then cry. Well, we draw a bunch of non-lands. Yeah, I'm not that greedy. I'm gonna mulligan this. This is better. We just get rid of one of these lands, and then we got 3 lands for our 3 mana cards. Seems all good to me. Probably just gonna haste out a Toralf's Disciple turn 3. Opponent starts with Esper Sentinel, which I think is just very rude against our deck. Whenever we cast our first non-creature spell each turn, we have to pay additional mana, or they will draw a card. We have a lot of non-creature spells we like to cast. So Toralf's Disciple on the stack, a big weight from our opponent. They've definitely got instant speed stuff. Geist Wave is the choice. Throw it back into our hand. Well, I think I'm just running it right back out. Get that haste creature down. Wouldn't be surprised if we see permanent removal for it this time. Take the 3 for now. With Thrix in hand, I am going to play this Kazul's Fury as Kazul's Cliffs. We draw one of our bolts, which is really cool, but it also is a lightning spear instead of a lightning bolt, because I'm not going to let our opponent draw a card off of it. We could go Young Pyromancer and still have the 2 mana up to do a lightning bolt without our opponent drawing a card. So I think I'll do that instead of the Poppet Stitcher. If I didn't care about our opponent drawing cards, we could play Poppet Stitcher and then bolt, which would be cool. Should have pre-combated the Pyromancer in case something like this happened. Because now I'm gonna bolt this Restoration Angel. I wish there was a time frame when that was exiled before it came back that I could bolt without paying the 1. That would be pretty cool. Oh, what am I on about? I can just I can just do it post-combat, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you can still get our 1/1. Hey! Alright, I figured it out. This is another blue-white flicker deck with Restoration Angel and Geist Wave. The Geist Wave is particularly good at bouncing your own things because you draw a card if you bounce your own thing. So it's definitely going to be a blue-white deck with a lot of enter the battlefield effects. Here I think we just attack with our 1/1. And then flash in a Nimble Obstructionist during their end step. Sphinx's Rev. Gain 2 life, draw 2 cards. Card is sick. Got slammed by that in an earlier round. See if our Nimble Obstructionist resolves. Devious Cover-Up? Is Devious Cover-Up in this cube? Oh, Ojutai's Command. They were checking if they had a creature in their graveyard. Well, we get to attack with everybody here. They have an instant for sure. So they might kill our Pyromancer, but we're not casting a lot of instants or sorceries this game. Now, this is a fine trade, judging by our hand. And we also just have a second Young Pyromancer, basically, this Poppet Stitcher. Maybe I shouldn't have attacked so aggressively with it, because the other thing I didn't realize is Poppet Stitcher flips on any creature tokens, so in conjunction with a young Pyromancer, it gets really good at flipping stuff. Frickin' Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa. My arch enemy in these cubes for some reason. The Elite Spellbinder. Just harassing my hand. Brutal Cathar as well. One mana for Goblin Darkdwellers to bolt Cathar. Until then, do we Inscription or Channeler? Channeler doesn't really do anything for us, does it? Inscription, we scry 2, draw 2, try to get to our lands. But they draw a card with Esper Sentinel because we're choked on mana. I do not want to give them any card draw, but do I have much of a choice here? The problem is, like, I Inscription here to scry 2, draw 2. They draw a card, then I Goblin Darkdwellers to Lightning Bolt, and then they draw a card again. Esper Sentinel just going off against us. If I played, I have 2 1/1s out. This thing doesn't have First Strike, I guess, so at least they can't attack with Cathar. Or Esper Sentinel. Yeah, I mean, they only hit us for 3. They just hit us in the sky. Let's just play our 1/1 and pass the turn. And it probably is correct to just not give them any card draw. Oh, there's a big flyer now. We could commit or Inscription, either of those. Draw some cards. An Inscription to try to survive is like bounce the 2 flyers, but then they recast Spellbinder, make another one of our cards cost 1,000,000. I think it's over here. Guess I should have committed during our turn to stop the flipping. Oh, we want that. I was like, ooh, we can hit Delirium, but I was like, no, we're trying to cast Darkdwellers. Well, now we have to Inscription the flyers or bolt Spellbinder or something to survive a turn. Guess if we Inscription the flyers, we can stop the card draw again. But then Spellbinder comes in and Darkdwellers costs 8 mana. 7 mana, not 8. One card from Dragon Rage Channeler being in the sky. So we'll go to post-combat here, because if I accidentally trigger Delirium on Channeler here, then I'm forced to attack, and I just attack into a Dawnbringer if I don't get rid of it. Alright, I think we have to bounce something here, and I really don't want to bounce Spellbinder, because Dark Ruler's costing 7, which means we have no follow-up play next turn. So I guess we hit the Brute, but we pay 3 life to target the Brute. So we go down to 6 and take 3. We're dead in 2 hits. I guess we're dead in 2 hits. Either way, because they're going to be recasting Lyra Dawnbringer. And so we get hit for 3 now and then 8 next turn. Technically, we can make it take a little longer, because next turn we can Dark Rulers and kill Spellbinder. We take 2 hits from Dawnbringer till we die, but I don't know. This way we get our Poppet thing back. Well, no, because they recast this and they problem is they recast the freaking Moonrage Brute and exile one of our creatures again. So they like just re-exile the Poppet Stitcher. This really doesn't matter that I can get it back there. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm saying. I'm kind of out of it here. I feel like this game's been lost for a few turns. And my brain is turning to putty. I love me some Magic, but after 3 hours of Magic, things go to mush. Not really 3 hours of Magic. 3 hours of Magic with the same deck. This is why I really like I like the regular Premier Draft queues on Arena. Because limited decks drafts, I feel like it's ideal when they take 1 to 2 hours. I don't really want it to take less than 1 hour, and I don't want it to take longer than 2 hours with the same deck in the digital form of Magic. It's fine in paper Magic if it takes more than 2 hours, because that's because it's, I mean, you're playing 3 rounds total. So we've played twice as many rounds of Magic as I would in an FNM draft, because it's just 3 rounds of Swiss. No matter how many times you win or lose, you just play 3 rounds. I don't know, this just feels like a big chonker of an event. Just way too many games, in my opinion. But I guess the idea is to kind of copy the sort of Grand Prix kind of experience, just like high-level Magic experience of like, yeah, you're playing like a ton of Magic in one big event where you play a ton of rounds. You're going to do really well in a boatload of rounds, but I've never enjoyed that kind of Magic that much. I play a ton of Magic, so you definitely can't say I'm casual. I'm technically a grinder, but I'm just like an FNM grinder. I just like playing a boatload of drafts. I don't really want to play a Grand Prix. Alright, after that giant spiel out of the way, as I start getting delirious and tired, do we keep this? I think we do, because we play Rimrock Knight turn 2, and we've got Dragonfire Deemworthy coming up even if we don't hit any lands, and I think both of those cards are pretty good against our opponent. Well, Deemworthy, we have to hit lands for Deemworthy, but we don't have to hit blue sources for Deemworthy, so at least that is castable off of any lands. And if we do hit the blue source and we keep hitting lands, then this hand is great. We just play Rimrock Knight turn 2, Stitcher turn 3, and then potentially we can Stormcaller double Dragonfire on 4. Like if we hit lands, this hand's absurd. And if we don't, we have the kind of cards that let us wait a little while to do so. A little bit of cheap interaction, a little bit of cheap pressure. enough to miss 1 or 2 land drops and still have a chance. I'm gonna trade here or Dragonfire the Killer. I think I'll just trade here. Save the Dragonfire for something better, potentially. And also, that way if we draw an island, next turn we could potentially Stormcaller for double Dragonfire. And it looks like they don't even want to trade. Cathar Commander's the play. Alright, if we hit the island next turn, that's going to be a spicy turn. We are going to get to double Dragon. Don't hit the blue source here, so we'll just keep the plan coming. Attack with Rimrock Knight if they don't tap it down. They do tap it down, so at least that just takes all their mana turn 3. Just spend the turn stopping our damage. Icing Death, Frost Tyrant is on the board. There's the blue source. This is going to be a big swing back. Things were looking miserable for us, and now they actually look pretty solid. Our opponent's down to 2 cards in hand with a 1-2 on the board. And we're only at 1 less life than them. That was a huge swing from Seagate Stormcaller. But Angel of Sanctions is a huge swing. That's a 3/4 flyer and a removal spell all in one package. Xul's Fury here. We can play it tapped to have Deemworthy or multiple choice mana next turn. They can embalm this for 6 mana, and then we can just bounce that to their hand, potentially, if we draw a good bounce spell. Multiple choice doesn't really work. Unless it's the only creature on the board. I'm just going to attack him with Stormcaller here and see if we can pop the Angel. We are not going to pop the Angel. So what do I want to do here? I can cycle Deemworthy, kill Giant Killer, and draw a card. Not awful, but I also kind of like just getting a Puppet Stitcher on the board. I'm pretty cool for that. And I'm not going to play Kazul's Cliffs here. It does make it so we could do multiple choice next turn, or Deemworthy if we're trying not to cycle it, but I feel like if we're playing a Deemworthy, we're just cycling it. So opponent plays Dauntless Bodyguard to defend Angel of Sanctions. So that's going to be harder to remove now. We're definitely playing this Salundi Isle. Send these 2 in for sure. Tap down the Stitcher. Okay, we'll just attack with Stormcaller then. That will possibly trade with the Bodyguard. Nope, then just take it. Guess I'll just hold on to my instance here, but I'm definitely gonna Deemworthy and kill the Bodyguard if they attack with it. I'm trying to find lethal here. 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I stop 2 damage right now or wait till they try to cast some kind of trick? They must be trying to find lethal, because if they don't find lethal here, we kill them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from a decayed zombie. Oh wait, no, we don't get a zombie when we cycle Deemworthy. If we got a zombie when we cycled Deemworthy, I would probably just let this through. But we don't. So I don't think we have lethal. We attack for 4, they go down to 6 life. We could Xul's Fury for 2 more. Yeah, we don't. I think we would with the Decayed Zombie. They can sack the Bodyguard in response, but because it's cycling, we draw the card anyway. Doesn't change anything. I guess it's like a backup plan if we have a 0 mana removal spell. Sphinx of Foresight. We've got our 5 mana for our Thrix. They have 7 power flyers down, so we just have to cast Thrix. Giant Killer kills us. We cast Thrix and they tap it. Unless they attack with Giant Killer as well. I think the only way I could convince them to attack with Giant Killer here would be if I tap all my creatures down here. And they might not even block, because we're playing red, so we could kill the Sphinx. So they do choose to block. Now we might just be on Kazul's Fury instead. If we can Kazul's Fury and hold up a neutralize and then take 4. Better than Thrix? I don't think so. Well, actually, yeah, it probably is. It probably is, because Thrix, again, they can play around Thrix if they just don't attack with Giant Killer, then we die even if we play Thrix. Whereas Kazul's Fury, they can't kill us unless they have another card in hand to do so. Alright, yeah. Kinda have to Kazul's Fury. I should have done this when Papa was still on the board so we could have a Decayed Zombie token. Well, I've got to counter that. Just gonna slam through the turn. Make it look not suspicious, and then they attack both. Now I can Thrix. They can recast Angel and exile Thrix if they have a land. And our Rimrock Knight can't block, so it doesn't help, but we can hit them for 6. 2 damage off! Which means the Decayed Zombie might have won. Oh, Inscription of Insight bounced both of these to their hand. Oh my god. They can Giant Killer our Thrix. Scry 1, draw 1 here. Well, no, I probably shouldn't. Probably better to have a 4/4 in your hand than whatever this is going to draw us into at this point in the game. So they kill Thrix with Giant Killer and then they play it, and then we attack with Rimrock Knight and they trade off. Or we just bounce that back to their hand again, but if we bounce it back into their hand again, they can use it to kill the 4/4 that we're getting here. We force them into a block if we play Toralf's Disciple. I think that's beneficial to force them into a block. Otherwise they threaten lethal. And they threaten removal for our 4/4. Well, not removal for it, but they can tap it down. Dead to one more hit of the Disciple. We could play a 4/4 as well, so we have 2 separate ways to kill them. I think I want to do that here. A bunch of lightning bolts we could top deck now. Elspeth conquers death, exiles the Disciple, but the 4/4 is still down. And it gets there. Oh my god. Okay, 1 and 1. Oh my god. Oh my god. Let's just get in there. We don't have a blue source. That's so rough. 2 1-mana blue cards, no blue source. Is a big downside of this hand, but we have turn 2 Rimrock Knight. We're on the draw, and any land gives us turn 3 Disciple. Turn 2 Knight, turn 3 Disciple's big. And now we guaranteed have it. Brutal Cathar. Get out of my life, please. If we flip it back to daytime, they get to exile another one of our cards because this Brutal Cathar is just dumb. So we're definitely not casting 2 things. I mean, we couldn't do that anyway. Do we want to just make a 4/4 with multiple choice? That'd be alright. I want to just play a Delver, though. Because, again, we're 1 mana away from multiple choice being much higher impact. Drawing us a card and bouncing Moonrage Brute back, potentially. If they don't play another creature. Or either way, it bounces something back. Angel of Sanctions. Okay, yeah, so it bounces something good back either way, if we hit 1 more mana. And judging by how some of our early games have gone, if we play a Delver of Secrets, we are bound to hit lands on top. Arena proving me wrong. Young Pyromancer it is. They have both of their 2-for-1 removal creatures. This game. That is spicy. I can't afford to double spell here. I shouldn't have played Pyromancer. Should I? I have no idea. Just play one random brick. We're gonna double spell here. Because Bodyguard only costs 1. They choose to protect the Angel. Interesting. I would have protected the Brute because it's probably going to be exiling 2 things in a moment here. Doesn't really matter though, all we have is just going to bounce to hand, really. Yep, Moonrage Brute is going to be exiling 2 of our creatures. The 3-for-1. We can play a 4/4, we can play a 2/1, we can play a 1/1 flyer, or we can scry 1, draw a card. I guess I should have played that 4/4. like a year ago. Ooh, Mind Flayer. Good God, the 2-for-1 creature removal our opponent's deck is capable of. Sweet Lord. Well, we can get back our 4-4. Brutal Cathar does not have Ward. Oh my God. Alright, well this is something. Yeah, we have a mild chance of surviving another turn since the bodyguard is not protecting the Brutal Cathar. So we want the copy to kill Brutal Cathar so that the copy resolves first and we can get back our Young Pyromancer. Actually, it doesn't matter because we already technically cast the spell, it just hasn't resolved yet. Yeah, so we don't get any elementals. Do I want to hit them for 3 and try to raise here, put them to 11? Or do I want to chump block? I don't think I want to chump block until next turn when I just have to chump block. Pump spell? Nope. Elite Spellbinder. Well, goodbye, Goblin Dark Dwellers. Now we can't do my big plan to find lethal, which was just going to be land Dark Dwellers to bolt. But we still got bolts in our deck, and we've got an opt to dig for them. Our opponent has 2 blockers. They block our 4/4 and our 3/2. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1 bolt doesn't even find lethal anyway. We've got a Siren Storm Tamer for 1 chump blocker, but we need 2, and we don't have a second blue mana to play opt to find a bolt and also play Storm Tamer. So we need 2 creatures to block their flyers, which means we have to play Storm Tamer and not opt. And they have to not have removal. Or they have to block with Elite Spellbinder. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They go block there, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They die to a bolt if they don't lose Elite Spellbinder. So I think we do attack everybody. And it's almost a forced block with Elite Spellbinder. Technically it's not. But if they don't block with Elite Spellbinder, they're just saying, I don't believe you have Lightning Bolt. Which would be a bold choice, because we have at least 3 more copies in here. I don't remember if we have 3 more copies or 7 more copies. If we got 1 or 2 attacks off with Disciple. Alright. Well, I'm fine with this. If we top deck a bolt, we win. If we don't top deck a bolt, we lose. Basically the world we're living in already. They have removal too. If they have removal too, we never stood a shot. Gain 4 life, draw a card. Yeah, we never stood a shot. Well, would not have mattered just a clump of lands either way. Was definitely game. But, again, really happy with our record overall. Definitely think I did not play ideally in most of the event, but I think we ended up with a pretty decent deck. I think 3-3 is more than enough for me for that deck. Like, this is the kind of deck, it has some big flaws that I was talking about, where the instants and sorceries in the deck are not ideal. We saw that blue-red-white deck. That is what you want for your instants and sorceries. A lot of cheap burn, like literal lightning bolt, play with fire, thundering rebuke, all of that kind of stuff into the royal. We're missing a lot on cheap instants and sorceries to really work with our young pyromancer and Poppet Stitcher and really make them tick. And our Dragon's Rage Channeler Delver, that kind of stuff. So I did think that this was just a fine blue-red deck, so it feels really average to me. So for an average deck, in your average just random Arena Cube lobby, I'd be happy with this deck going like 4-3 or 3-3, and we managed to go 3-3 with it in the Decathlon Finals, which is like, I have to assume, above average competition compared to just a regular Arena Cube draft. So I'll absolutely take it. And in terms of what we got out of it, got absolutely everything I wanted. Got the 3-player draft tokens. The Jace, the Mind Sculptor avatar would have been cool, but it would have been literally just to look at in the change avatar screen, because I think the only 2 avatars I really care about are Fibblethip and Nicol Bolas. And then, of course, the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, 1 of each card. Doesn't matter to me. The only constructed format I ever play is Historic Brawl, and I play so much drafts that I just end up with enough random cards to build some nonsense Historic Brawl decks. So, yeah, that is going to end the Arena Decathlon Finals. A very average run, very medium deck, very medium run. But a medium run is enough to get those player draft tokens that I wanted, so I'll take it. And that is going to be the end of the Arena Decathlon Finals today, and the end of today's video. But as you can see, tomorrow's video is going to be a little wild, because if you couldn't tell, I'm already quite tired and a little burnt out on Magic, but I have another Arena Decathlon Finals entry, so I gotta go get my 3 more player draft tokens. So tomorrow's video will be my second run through the Arena Decathlon Finals. And because sign-up ends in 16 hours, I'm gonna have to record it right now before I go to sleep. So we're gonna see how well tired, burnt out, does not want to play Magic anymore Gauntlet does in the Decathlon Finals. So once again, thank you all very much for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, just stick around on the channel. There will be plenty more. And as always, thank you again for watching. I'll see you very soon for some more Magic Arena.